What if they could help? We don't need this.
Hi. What's your name?
Anna.
I'm looking forward to that day when I'll see Christ face to face. Would you like that hope, and would you like that peace, and would you like that joy? Would you like to know that all your sins are forgiven? Would you like to know that you're going to heaven? You can tonight. On the authority of God's word, I can promise it to you tonight. You don't get eternal life when you die. You get it right here and now.
Relive Billy Graham classics Fridays on theDove TV, encouraging and informative.
Your fears that seem paralyzing to you, your fears that may seem uncontrollable, they show you what you really value, what matters to you in this life. And that we have to remedy that not by valuing other things 0%, but by valuing Jesus more. Because when we know that He numbers the hairs on our head, that He controls the insignificant things like sparrows falling to the ground, we begin to think, yeah, He's got it, and I don't have to be in control. I don't need to fear.
A ministry moment on theDove.
Now, this new life I live, I don't live it, you don't live it, by the sheer force of our will or dependent on our own energy. We read in verse 4 that just as Christ was raised by the glory of the Father, and that phrase, the glory of the Father, just refers to the energy and power of the Holy Spirit. I mean, we can read it in Romans 8:11 that Jesus was raised by the power of the Holy Spirit. So just as He was raised by the power of the Holy Spirit, that verse said, even so, or in the same way, or in the same manner, by the same means, we should walk in newness of life, by the power of the Spirit, not in our own energy, not by our own will. Romans 8:13, it says, but by the power of the Spirit, you can put to death the sins that the body commits. By the power of the Spirit. That power is available. It can be laid hold of.
A ministry moment on theDove.
You're watching theDove TV, encouraging and informative for Southern Oregon and the Rogue Valley. Seen on KDOV 18, KDSO 24, and these Dove TV affiliates.
Well, good morning to you. Happy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Welcome to Mornings on theDove. This is actually Santa's technical center. This is where no longer the letters come in, but the texts come in.
Oh, yeah.
And the emails. So
yes.
I'm Little Elf. This is Big Elf.
Yeah, and keep them coming.
Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. You know, it was so cold this morning when I went outside to walk the dog.
How cold was it?
Good boy.
Okay.
I'm walking and I'm crunching underneath my feet.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It was like, I thought, I'm going to go down if I'm not careful here, because it's ice.
It is.
It was just ice.
I came to my first corner this morning and I felt a little bit of looseness, and I thought, oh, Jerry, you might want to take it easy this morning.
Yeah. Listen, slow down, folks. It's icy out there this morning.
And foggy. I mean, there are pockets. You got patches out there, so look out.
But sure nice last night, though. It was clear as a bell, and you could look out and see all the lights. And did you notice, right after Thanksgiving, it's like the town went, boom, Christmas.
Yeah. Yes.
Lights everywhere. It's beautiful. I love it. All right, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. A lot going on in the news. Got some interesting stories today we'll share with you. But anything special?
Well, first of all, it's Wildlife Conservation Day.
Okay.
An observance that strives to put an end to wildlife crime, and especially when we see big game and we look in the African continent and such, we see poaching is still a problem.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of countries are banding together to try and counteract that. And, you know, as people who walk in faith, we are to be good stewards, so this is something we should get behind.
We should. We should be good stewards, and so kiss a bald eagle today. You gotta catch him first.
Better than kissing your socks, because today is National Sock Day.
All right.
And it is really a time to celebrate the marriage of matched socks.
Oh.
Have you ever worn mismatched socks?
Especially blue and black.
Intentionally?
No.
I have.
Oh, have you?
Oh, yeah, more than once. In fact, I've had my feet under here with wrong socks on more. But you know what? I've gotten bolder in my old age with mismatched socks. Because I have grandkids that do it on purpose.
Well, you know,
I'm not kidding you.
I know,
Yeah.
it's fashionable. And, you know, you used to have socks that would match your shoes or your pants.
Yeah, yes.
Now, socks are their own design thing. Yeah, the wilder the sock, the better the deal is.
You know who was really into that? George H.W. Bush.
Yes.
Remember H.W.?
He wore wild socks.
He wore wild socks.
So if you look at some of these guys on some of the morning shows out there, you can't see our feet, but they are some of our people that try to be us. Anyway.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, wait a minute. They have wild socks on.
Yeah.
And you know who used to, the first guy I ever ran into that just purposely wore wild socks?
Who?
Dr. Kevin Lehman.
No kidding.
Yep.
Yeah, he's kind of a little rebel anyway.
Yeah,
a little way, in some ways, yeah. All right. It's also, and this is really important, especially in the season, we see more and more of them piling up. It's National Package Protection Day.
Oh, cameras?
Yeah, cameras. Doorbell cameras are big, and we see lots of things going on off doorbell cameras. But more and more packages are just left willing. In fact, I heard a story about somebody, one of the delivery services, who on the road in front of the house had laid the package at the mailbox post and took a picture of it and then sent it to him to prove that they delivered it. It was out on the road.
Okay, now wait a minute.
At the mailbox.
That's happened to us several times.
Has it really? Yes.
And they'll deliver it, they take a picture, and they send it to you, and I go, first of all, how'd you get all this stuff?
Right.
Okay, but it's proof of delivery.
Right.
And so I like the sign that says, ammo's expensive, no more warning shots.
Welcome to our abode. Yeah, nothing says welcome like that kind of a sign. Oh my goodness. Well, okay, have you ever had this? Have you ever had a picture of your package, proving delivery, sitting in front of the wrong house?
Oh, no.
Yeah, we have.
Oh, have you?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, that's chutzpah. Yeah, I delivered it, sent it, wrong porch.
Yeah, wrong porch. Yeah.
Okay, so protect your packages. And finally, and boy, can we celebrate this today.
What?
It's National Cookie Day. Oh, the ladies.
The ladies out there.
Oh, they did so well for us.
The trail babes.
Oh, man.
It's amazing. I am absolutely shocked how long food lasts around this place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. In what way?
It goes so fast.
It goes so fast. You mean it doesn't last very long?
Well, we had plates of cookies. We're down to maybe 2.
Isn't it amazing?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I think the problem with these cookies are, you just walk by. What's your natural reaction?
Grab one.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. They sit out in front of us. You talk about temptation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
but it is the season of cookies, isn't it?
Season of cookies.
Yes. Thank you, ladies.
All right.
It's a great day to celebrate.
All right. Well, speaking of temptation, he would like to be one of their singers and bass players, but he ended up being a weatherman on the Dove.
High pressure will continue to bring sunny, dry weather with fog in some interior valleys. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny with daytime highs in the upper 40s for Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville. Early fog, then cloudy and near 46 in Wilsonville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with patchy, dense freezing fog, then cloudy with daytime high temperatures in the low to mid 40s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with lows in the 30s. Sunny skies today across central Oregon with daytime highs near 41 in Prineville, 43 in Bend, and near 40 in Sun River with lows tonight in the 20s. Over in Boise, Idaho, patchy fog, then sunny in low 40s. Along the Oregon coast, sunny with high temperatures in the mid-50s for Coos Bay and Port Orford and near 58 in Brookings. In Crescent City, California, patchy fog before 10 a.m., then sunny in upper 50s. In southern Oregon, areas of patchy freezing fog, otherwise mostly cloudy in 48 in Grants Pass and 46 in Medford. Sunny in Ashland with a high near 54. In the Klamath Basin, mostly cloudy in mid-40s. Into northern California, patchy freezing fog with a high near 41 in Wairika. Sunny with daytime high temperatures near 67 in Redding and 63 in Chico. Patchy fog, then sunny and near 62 in Sacramento. In the Bay Area, patchy dense fog, then sunny and near 67 in Santa Rosa. Sunny in mid-60s for Napa and San Francisco with a light north wind. And today in San Jose, sunny with a high near 70. It's a look at your Wednesday weather. on the Dove.
Okay, well, there's a shot of the beautiful Southern Oregon Rogue Valley with going to clear above and some pockets of fog below, and the city lights shining through. Kind of beautiful. It is beautiful.
It is a gorgeous shot.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll give it an hour or so and things will change.
Yep. And we need a little bit of a thaw out there, so maybe burning off some of the fog, but take it easy.
Be careful. It is really icy out there.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see here. What do I have? I have, well, 32. I think that's Central Point. My house, I think, was 26.
So yeah, there you go. Well, to leave early and to take it easy are acts of wisdom.
Yes.
And Solomon said wisdom is preferable to wealth.
Oh.
But to have wisdom and wealth is to be doubly blessed, as Dr. David Jeremiah explains.
First of all, in verses 11 through 18, Solomon teaches us that we should thank God for the perspective of wisdom. Wisdom may not solve all of our problems. It may not make all of the tough things good. But wisdom gives us an understanding of what's going on. It helps us to see things in perspective. For instance, wisdom helps us to deal with prosperity. Verses 11 and 12 say, wisdom is good with an inheritance and profitable to those who see the sun. For wisdom is a defense as money is a defense, but the excellence of knowledge is that wisdom gives life to those who have it. It is better, said Solomon, to have wisdom than to have a good fortune or a good inheritance. Wisdom does not depreciate, nor is it subject to inflation. And Solomon says that a person who has wisdom and wealth is doubly blessed. In fact, it becomes his defense twice over. Wisdom gives life to those who have it. That is what Solomon said in Proverbs. That's what he says here. Proverbs 8:35. He says, for whoever finds me, wisdom, finds life and obtains favor from the Lord.
Wow. Well, do you ask for wisdom? That's the one thing he gives liberally.
Yeah.
You know, ask for it.
That's a good thing to ask for.
It is. Sometimes you just need a whole lot of smarts. All right, good morning to you. Let's take a look at the top stories. And can you say Maple Leaf 51?
I know where you're going.
How about Maple Leaf 51? This is classic.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, President-elect Trump says to Mexico and Canada, 25% tariff if you guys don't start working on the border. Well, that kind of shook up Trudeau, who's already in trouble. He flies down to Mar-a-Lago. They have a nice get-together. And President Trump suggests, why don't we just turn Canada into State 51? And you can be the governor.
You can be the governor.
I'll tell you what, this is not the end of this story.
Okay, all right.
I think this will pop up.
No kidding, yeah.
Because think about the citizens in Canada that have enough of him.
Right.
And they're he will not survive the next election.
Right.
He's in only because term keeps him there.
And do you think that Trump looked at the recent video of Trudeau at a Taylor Swift concert, rocking out with all the kids in the front row, taking selfies with him?
Yeah.
Do you think that may have influenced him? Hey, dude, I can hardly take you seriously.
Yeah, and not only that, but the tariff thing did wake him up. Now, I don't know what comes of this.
Yeah.
Because the president is acting like he's already president.
Well, he is, isn't he?
He's president-elect.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that, bottom line is, he woke up Canada and he flies down to meet with them. He says, well, listen, since you're just having a bad day, why don't we just take over Canada? I'm wondering if that wouldn't float in Canada.
Yep.
Because Commonwealth countries are a soft form of socialism.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And why are so many Canadians leaving their medical system coming to the United States if it's so great?
Because they want to be seen. They want to get an appointment.
Well, that and they want to stay alive.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought that was kind of cute. Let's. How about if we just take Canada in as State 51, and you can become governor?
Oh,
that was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was so fun. All right. Well, in the meantime, the other story is it looks like Congress is settled. Democratic challenger Adam Gray flips the California 13th
elections last.
Okay, congressional district. And is that an SOT? No, we don't have an SOT on that. Okay, in the meantime, this was the closest race in the country. 187 votes.
Oh, gosh.
Gave it to the Democrats. So the 13th Congressional District of California now will be represented by Adam Gray. Now, I'm not sure of the final count. I see two stories out there, and they're not, and I haven't really looked online to really figure this out. It's either 219 to 215, or it's 220 to 215. So that's the latest count. But bottom line is that the Republicans control the House.
Let me ask you something. Why on earth does this take so long?
That's a good question. I don't know. It probably was in the 1%, so they had to do a physical recount.
Okay.
You know, so if it gets into that area, if it's outside of 1%, I think the candidate has to pay for the recount.
Yeah, I don't know.
If it's within the 1%, I think the district has to do the recount.
But the weird thing is I may be old, but I remember the day when everything was hand counted and we knew before morning.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know, but 187 votes, that's a tight race.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see what happens. In the meantime, the Democrats are thinking about forcing a vote releasing Gates' ethics report.
Oh.
I don't know. Now, let me tell you the problem with this margin. Even though the Republicans have a 1 or 2 seat margin, it only works when everybody shows up to vote.
And everybody agrees.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if Speaker Johnson retains his job, he's got a tough one here. He's got to put forth legislation that forces everybody to show up.
Okay.
Because the Dems, this is where the Dems can beat the Republicans, because they will vote together.
Right. Yep.
And the Republicans need to learn that lesson, or the president's policies may not get advanced. But I will say this. Some of the margins of the other Democrat and Republican seats in the House were very, very narrow. And it's very possible there's some blue dog Democrats out there that could vote with the Republicans.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because they have to go back and answer to their constituents on some things that might be common sense.
True.
Okay, so anyway, a little bit of the top stories this morning as the beat marches on. So here we are, Maple Leaf 51. I think that ought to be the symbol. When I saw that yesterday, I go, you got to be kidding. How classic is that?
Right. Now, is the legacy news media up in arms saying, now we're trying to annex Canada?
Well, let me say something about the media, just if I can't.
Okay.
I got a second here.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. I want to say this respectfully.
All right.
You have lost your credibility. I'm not giving you guys any credit. I don't care what you do. It means nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
Because the only thing you're going to do is cry and boo-hoo and cuss. That's all you're going to do. You're not reporting anything. You are 100% a sellout to an agenda that's anti-America.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah. Yep.
Did I say enough on that?
You got it, man.
Okay.
You hit it. I love it.
Anyway, I want to see a hat with the maple leaf on it and the big 51.
51?
We'll be right back.
Get ready for fun at Rogue Ski Shop Think Snow Sale. Boulder Gear clothing now 20% off. Goggles, adults starting at $29, kids starting at $26. All Scott gloves 20% off. If you ski or ride, it's time to slide into Rogue Ski Shop Medford.
For 68 years, Ray's Food Place has been the fresh choice for your family. We're your local employee-owned grocery store. Count on us for hot buys every week and fantastic Friday one-day deals. Here's this week's one-day special offer. But remember, fantastic Friday deals are only available one day each week. Community-focused and convenient. That's Ray's Food Place. Proud to be your local employee-owned grocery store. It's time to run to Ray's.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Now here's this couple who says, we don't need that kind of a covenant so that we can escape and get out of this. And it is an unholy relationship. Two men together cannot be one flesh. Two women together in a sexual relationship cannot be one flesh. It is the man and it is the woman brought together by God, as indicated here in this passage of Scripture, that become one flesh. And that means that their relationship is not just physical, but metaphysical. In fact, you know that the word one that is used there is the word when God speaks about being one, for the oneness of the Trinity.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Feeling overwhelmed by the holiday chaos? Work piling up? Family gatherings too much? The Dove.us is here to bring real peace and life-changing hope. Hope for the holidays is just a click away at the Dove.us.
All right, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday as we march on down the road here. Well, here's another little interesting thing. This was kind of in our own backyard. The ICE used a airport in Washington State to deport migrants, but was stopped by the local executive order.
What?
So ICE appealed it to the Ninth Circuit of Appeals Court and got it overturned. So the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, can continue using the Seattle airport for chartered deportation flights in a win for the incoming President-elect Trump's administration, and allows for them to use that airport to deport illegal immigrants.
Wow, and that was held up by the Ninth District?
The Ninth Circuit.
Wow.
So you got to remember, 3 of the judges on the Ninth Circuit were put there by Trump.
Right.
So the Ninth Circuit is kind of getting adjusted a little bit back to the middle. But this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, red governors are already working with ICE to gather up people in collection points to deport them. I mean, this is amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's a tough thing because among the innocent are the bad people.
Yeah, you know, that's a great point.
And so how do you legitimately look at this? Well, you have to go down the lines of the law. You're here illegally, go out, and if you really want to come back in legitimately, there's the door. Okay? But I think they're left with no other option. And you can tell where the left's going to go on this and crying inhumane and all this stuff.
Of course.
But this is a big deal where the appeals court overturned the state executive order to open up the airport to allow for deportation flights.
Wow.
Here it comes. Get ready.
Yeah. Yes.
January 21st. I don't know. You know what? February 2nd is Groundhog Day. It could be one like we've never seen before.
What a thought.
That groundhog could come out with some bells and whistles. He could be rocking and rolling.
He might be doing this.
Yeah, he'd be doing this.
Yes. I love it.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the satellite image. Here's what's going on out there. We have a lot of systems off front, but I don't know if they're going to hit us.
They're not going to hit us.
What's the long range here?
Oh, my gosh. I'm surprised how much is out there. We're looking at mostly clear skies and low 50s today and tomorrow, 51 and clouding up on Friday, and just about a 45% chance of rain on Saturday with a high in the mid to upper 40s. And that's going to continue through till next Thursday with the next chance. But we may get something down the road. But what we're looking at, all that color, it's going by us.
Yeah, if you look at it in slow-mo, it splits exactly what Leon said. It splits, and some of it goes down to California, and some of it goes up to Washington. All right.
Hey, in the last campaign cycle, all the noise and stuff that was going on, did Kamala Harris say that she was going to lower food prices through government restrictions and controls?
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Food caps.
Food caps, right. Yeah, price, yes,
price
exactly.
Capping, yeah.
Well, Dennis Prager of PragerU talks about the downside of government setting limits on food prices.
When the free market doesn't operate, supply and demand, making prices, then you will have a massive devaluation of the economy of the society. Not to mention a lack of freedom. By the way, why would anybody then produce food? If they can't make a profit, why would they produce it? Would you work for no money? Profit is salaries. Think of the word profit as salary. That's what it is. If I grow corn. I'm a farmer who grows corn. If the government sets a price beyond which I can't sell my corn, that means that I'm not being given a wage to produce corn. I won't produce corn. That's all that will reduce. It will just be an emptying of the shelves of grocery stores, because nobody will make a profit in selling it, and they'll leave that business. However, I will say I do feel justified for all those who have said, and this is all over the world practically, we have to have socialized medicine, or as in America Democrats would put it, single payer. So again, no free market in medicine, because everybody has the right to have medical care. And therefore the government, which means just your fellow citizen, the government doesn't have a nickel. The government takes money from people. So the government will pay for your medical care. I have asked, I think, all of my adult life, a question that I've never gotten an answer to. If government should pay for your medical care, why shouldn't it pay for your food? Food is even more important than medical care. You can go much of a lifetime without medical care because you're healthy, but you can't go very long without food. So if we're going to have the government pay for medical care, why shouldn't the government pay for food? Well, now you have the answer. The government will now set the price of food, which means you will have much less food available to you.
Wow. Well, thank God that didn't see the light of day.
Yeah.
It's been tried, and it's a disaster. And so the only thing I can say is that God's had mercy on us from that ever happening.
Yeah.
The way that big agriculture, now the ag thing is really a difficult thing to talk. So it's kind of like talking about education. You take agriculture as a whole and you take education as a whole. We need both, but they both have been mismanaged. And if you take big ag over there and what they're doing in allowing big companies to consolidate to control agriculture and outside foreign ownership, look, this is not good. You don't want another country controlling your rice and potatoes and corn. And so anyway, it's a mixed bag, but thank God the price caps are no longer there.
Yeah, and we get a little leery when we hear those labels, and accurately put, I mean, when we hear big government, big business, big ag, big pharma, we know that it has a lot to do with the consolidation and companies getting bigger and bigger. And we kind of think that maybe they're losing our interests inside of such big hierarchy of business. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I can tell you this, and I say this with a broken heart, really, because I've seen it impact our family. You get so tired of fighting the government.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere you turn, it's banging you in the head. And if you're not careful, you become so angry and cynical you can't see straight. And when somebody comes along and wants to buy you out, you're tired. Have a nice day. And you wrestle with the conscience, did I do the right thing? You know? So I don't know. I would say, I would hope with this administration, there's one thing that's high on the list, and that's the protection of the American farmer. Your potatoes don't come from Safeway. Your tomatoes don't come from Albertsons. Okay?
Yeah.
Just drive around here. Your wine did not come from, over here at Food for Less. It's there's vineyards out there, there's orchards out there, and these are people in business trying to make a,
True.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
All right. Well, we understand this. Both of us came from an ag background, and
yeah, I mean, I grew up in the middle of tomato fields. My friend Bud and his family, they raised pears.
Okay. Oh, all right.
They had some peaches and chickens. All this, that whole era is gone.
Yeah.
And, I really think kids need to spend a semester on a farm.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
Driving a tractor, cutting some corn, shearing a sheep.
Yeah.
Getting stung by a honeybee.
Yeah, first thing I ever drove, I'll never forget it. I was a little kid. First thing I ever drove, my dad put me on a tractor. And one of the nice things about putting a kid on a tractor is you can set the throttle.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about me flooring it.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. All right, well, so much for that talk.
He goes, man, these guys are dinosaurs.
Yeah,
huh?
well, did you ever flip a tractor?
No, I have no. Oh, no.
Did you ever get a tractor to go up in the front?
I never did. No.
So driving a tractor is you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, well, true.
Because that big tire in the back is for a reason.
And it's got a lot of torque.
And if you don't manage it, you're in trouble.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, so anyway, so much for that, I guess. Anyway, we're going to go take the honey from the bees. We'll be right back.
At Kelly's Automotive Service,
being good stewards of what God has entrusted to us
is at the core of our business.
We believe what we do matters.
Every interaction, every transaction is another opportunity
to bring Christ's values into the marketplace.
If you're a technician who wants to be part of something bigger,
or just looking for a new shop to bring your vehicle,
we would love to meet you.
We're Kelly's Automotive Service,
where we service your vehicle,
but take care of you.
Hi, Perry Atkinson here. You know, the Dove has a very important year-end need, and that is to raise an extra $217,000 to keep the Dove soaring. This critical need pays for our tower leases for another year and distribution fees across the network. We hope that you've had a chance to perfectly consider a special year-end gift today. Please don't take from your church or any other ministry the Lord has you involved in. Only do what He calls you to do. You can go online or call us today. And please know that your donation is changing lives for good. Well, good morning to you. 1:30 on a chilly, icy Wednesday morning. Drive carefully out there. Fog. Some of it's pretty thick, right down on the ground. So be careful out there. And it's very icy, so kind of like an ice fog condition in some spots. I had a lot going on around the world, and especially in the Middle East. Let's check in with CBN Newswatch and get caught up.
This is CBN Newswatch.
And we want to begin in the Middle East, where Israeli leaders are demanding the Lebanese army move to stop Hezbollah attacks against the Jewish state in violation of the recent ceasefire. Israel is warning Lebanon itself will pay a price if their military does not take action. And we are hearing the responses to President-elect Donald Trump's threat to Hamas to release their hostages. Our Chris Mitchell brings us the story. He's reporting from Jerusalem.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made it clear that the ceasefire is not an end of the war and that Israel will not accept a return to the status before the October 7th attacks. Israel's defense minister Yisrael Katz warned Lebanon what will happen if the ceasefire breaks down.
If we return to war, we will act strongly. We will go deeper. And the most important thing they need to know is that there will no longer be an exemption for the state of Lebanon.
Under the shadow of the fragile ceasefire, some residents are cautiously returning to their homes.
We have a clear goal to return the residents, to rehabilitate the North. We are enforcing this ceasefire with an iron fist, acting against any violation, minor or major.
Netanyahu also thanked President Trump for his bold warning to those holding the hostages in Gaza. Trump wrote, "Those responsible will be hit harder than anybody has been hit in the long and storied history of the United States of America."
This adds another force to our continuing effort to release all the hostages. Thank you, President Trump.
CBN's Faith Nation interviewed one of the fathers of a hostage still held in Gaza. Ruby Han appreciated Trump's warning to Hamas.
Well, I think the language that the president-elect used in that post is exactly the type of language we need. United States citizens, should be safe wherever they are.
Han wonders why the Biden administration can't be that forceful.
Why is it that the United States, with all of its power, is not able to do more to squeeze Hamas to a place that it could get to a deal?
A new report also predicts a centerpiece of Trump's foreign policy in the region. It says Iranian regime change likely to be the focus of Trump Middle East policy. This will manifest as an enhanced version of the maximum pressure campaign, with the explicit goal of regime change in Tehran. Iran is also under pressure in Syria, where radical Muslim rebels are threatening the Syrian regime, one of Iran's major regional allies. These radical Muslims have taken Aleppo, Syria's second largest city, and forced thousands to flee.
We were attacked by armed militias. They displaced us against our will. They started to threaten people, saying they would kill and behead them, so we left.
We'll talk about more of the dangers those Christians face in a moment, but let me ask you first. Israel says Lebanon will not get an exemption if the war with Hezbollah resumes. What might Israel do?
Well, what's going to happen right now, Ephraim, is if they do resume, Hezbollah targets will be hit, but also Lebanese targets. For example, in Beirut, the IDF hit the stronghold, the Area, in the city. They didn't hit the airport or Lebanese infrastructure. And the threats seems to be that Lebanese are going to be targeted. Now, what that could do, Ephraim, is put more internal pressure on Hezbollah from the Lebanese themselves.
Some Israelis are finally returning to their homes in the north after leaving because of the strikes by Hezbollah. Could Hezbollah attack them again? And how committed is Israel to protecting them?
Well, that's a concern that Hezbollah could attack them again, and protecting them, those residents, and returning them to the north several weeks ago became one of the official war goals of Israel. But many residents of the north really thought the ceasefire, about more than a week ago was premature and that it didn't defeat Hezbollah entirely. Which is why we don't see a flood of people going back to the north. It really, right now, seems to be more like a trickle. And those that are coming back are seeing the damage to their homes and their communities firsthand. Just to remember, on October 8th, 2023, that's when Hezbollah began firing rockets in support of Hamas after the October 7th massacre. There was a mandatory evacuation right along the border, about 5 kilometers, which would be about 3 miles from the Lebanese border. More than 60,000 people have been living more than a year as refugees in their own country, and it's not sure when they all will go back, if all of them will ever go back.
Well, there you go. So, ceasefire, hostages, new administration, and return to living. Yeah. That's a lot on somebody's plate.
Boy.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on that. All right, let's keep an eye on the weather, because it's pretty nice, but pretty cold and pretty icy and pretty foggy.
High pressure will continue to bring sunny, dry weather with fog in some interior valleys. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny with daytime highs in the upper 40s for Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville. Early fog, then cloudy and near 46 in Wilsonville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with patchy, dense freezing fog, then cloudy with daytime high temperatures in the low to mid 40s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene, with lows in the 30s. Sunny skies today across central Oregon with daytime highs near 41 in Prineville, 43 in Bend, and near 40 in Sun River, with lows tonight in the 20s. Over in Boise, Idaho, patchy fog, then sunny in low 40s. Along the Oregon coast, sunny with high temperatures in the mid-50s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, and near 58 in Brookings. In Crescent City, California, patchy fog before 10 a.m., then sunny in upper 50s. In southern Oregon, areas of patchy freezing fog, otherwise mostly cloudy in 48 in Grants Pass and 46 in Medford. Sunny in Ashland with a high near 54. In the Klamath Basin, mostly cloudy in mid-40s. Into Northern California, patchy freezing fog with a high near 41 in Wairika. Sunny with daytime high temperatures near 67 in Redding and 63 in Chico. Patchy fog, then sunny and near 62 in Sacramento. In the Bay Area, patchy dense fog, then sunny and near 67 in Santa Rosa. Sunny in mid-60s for Napa and San Francisco with a light north wind. And today in San Jose, sunny with a high near 70. It's a look at your Wednesday weather on the Dove.
Okay, there it is. Beginning shot of the Mount Ashland. A little bit of sunshine trying to poke through the clouds, I guess, and getting ready for an opening on Friday. Sure looks nice. And you know what's interesting about that?
Huh.
Those trees are still white.
Yes, they are. It just has stayed cold up there.
It's cold.
It's nice. So, and then maybe we'll add a little bit more next week. We'll see. But interesting, we're talking a lot about the olden days and farming and driving tractors,
in my
pickups and riding in the back of pickups and stuff like that. Well, if you look further back, 1812, the U.S. was largely an agrarian society where most people lived on farms or small rural villages, and farm work was hard and done mostly by hand. But that year, a piece of equipment was invented that was revolutionary.
In the summer of 1812, in the quiet town of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Peter Gaylord had a vision. Tired of the back-breaking labor of mowing fields by hand, he wondered if there could be a better way. With a keen mind and heart full of determination, he set to work in his workshop, designing a machine that would revolutionize farming. After countless hours of tinkering, he succeeded. A horse-drawn mower capable of cutting grass with ease and efficiency. On the morning of December 12, 1812, Peter proudly filed his patent for the innovative device. The horse-drawn mower would soon change the landscape of agriculture, saving farmers time and energy. It wasn't just a machine, it was a breakthrough that promised to lighten the load of countless families. Peter Gaylord's invention echoed the spirit of innovation which continued, forever altering the way fields were cultivated and harvested.
Wow. You ever been to the Amish country?
I have never been there, no.
And they still use those.
Do they? Oh, my gosh. And you know what?
And they stack it in great big round piles like this. You know?
I have seen videos of guys out there with the sickle still.
Yeah.
Like doing this thing, you know. Yeah. I just watch them and my back hurts.
Well, yeah, but there's some things about living off the grid that you don't want to do.
True.
That's one of them.
Yeah, amen to that.
Well, good stuff. All right. Good morning to you. Well, listen, Samaritan's Purse, we always highlight them. They do such an amazing job in responding as a first responder to disaster areas. And such is the case down in Livingston, Texas, after the floods went through. So here's the Avila family talking about Samaritan's Purse response.
Oh man, I got another hog. I'm here in East Texas, and this is a city that I was in back in June of this summer. And this area was completely devastated. The house behind me was flooded underwater. And when I pulled up to meet with our Samaritan's Purse volunteers that were gutting out this home, the homeowner's son came up and gave me a big hug and, hey, sir, it's nice to meet you. But I was so touched by his compassion. But then I met his mother and father and how much they loved the Lord. They had saved up, bought this house, and they just finished paying it off, and it was completely destroyed. So today, we dedicate a brand new home, everything from the ground up. The foundation, we raised it, everything is new.
Thank you so much. And we would like to say that our hearts are full of gratefulness to Samaritan Purse. We will take care of the house, and everybody are welcome to come to the house anytime.
I just love their testimony. I know they're going to use this house to share the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout this community, and I'm proud to know them, and we celebrate today. So I just pray for the Avila family, and we give God the glory.
Isn't that wonderful? Day in and day out, they're doing this in places that we don't even never see it on the news.
No.
But for some reason there was a national disaster or natural disaster, and they go in there and take care of that. Amazing. So good stuff all the way around. All right, let's take a quick break and see if there's anything left in the Dove kitchen.
I got it.
Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson. The Dove has an important year-end need to raise an extra $217,000 to keep the Dove soaring on TV, radio, streaming worldwide. This crucial need pays for the tower leases, distribution fees across our network so that you can continue to enjoy the Dove every day. People are watching and listening, and the Dove is touching many lives with much needed news, information, hope, and encouragement in a time where it is so desperately needed. We hope that you've had a chance to prayerfully consider a special year-end gift today. Now, don't take from your church or any other ministry that the Lord has you involved in. But if the Lord's leading you to do a special gift to the Dove today, you can contact us anytime online at thedove.us or call or mail. Call today at 541-776-5368. Together, with your help, we can continue to bring the love of Christ to a world that so desperately needs Him. Thank you from the Dove.
Owning a small business is kind of a big deal. State Farm agent Rory Wold can help you find the right insurance coverage at the right price. Call Rory for a quote today.
You feel most alive where you feel most at home. And this is living. Bobcat, the company that changed the way the world works, is coming home with a quality compact tractor built to match your quality of life. This isn't work you have to do. It's work you get to do. So get it done in a tractor that's all you. See your dealer or visit bobcat.com.
Hey, if you've got nothing else going on at 9 p.m. weeknights and you'd like to learn how to share your faith and grow in your faith, join us here for Wretched on the Dove TV.
Weekdays and weeknights on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative.
Okay, welcome back. Yesterday I had Orrin McIntyre on. He's kind of interesting guy. He writes for various magazines, and I think he's with the Blaze. He does some work with the Blaze. And I asked him if ultimately the pardoning of Hunter Biden will be what the administration is remembered for. You know, is this going to be the capstone of the Biden administration? Here's what he had to say.
Honestly, the thing I'm worried about is that this really fades away. A lot of people on the right and even some people on the left have expressed their concern with this move. But ultimately, if Democrats pay no cost for this level of corruption, then they're just going to do it again. This is just going to be a signal saying, well, we understand that the left doesn't have to play by the rules and the right will never punish them for it. So ultimately, obviously, there's nothing you can do about the pardon itself, but this should give a green light to someone like Donald Trump to say, all right, in that case, every January 6th protester is now exonerated, right? They will be given this pardon. If this is how we're doing it, if this is the way in which we're going to use the justice system, then we will simply roll back your political prosecution of so many people, some who did wrong, but others who did nothing. We will just give a blanket pardon and move on together as a nation. I think there's very little reason why Trump shouldn't take that action in the light of Biden's action here. And I think ultimately it's the right thing to do anyway, clearing out what has been a long string of abuses of the justice system by the Department of Justice under Joe Biden.
Okay, I don't know if that's true or not. It's his opinion. I think this will be remembered. But here's the other thing that's got me my brain on tilt. Why all of a sudden is the left, and especially the left media, so upset with this pardon? I mean, it seems to be so hypocritical when they have used the justice system to go after their enemy, and somehow that's okay. But for some odd reason, they're not okay with the president doing this to his son. And the only thing I can come up with, the answer to my own question is, this move has tanked not just President Biden, it's tanked the Democratic Party.
Yeah. Well, you know, they have stood in what they have considered the moral high ground.
Yeah.
They're the arbiters of truth.
Yeah.
They're the ones for law and justice and the rule of law. And we've been hearing this over and over and over again, and then all of a sudden it all gets thrown out the window. And you think, okay, well, if this wasn't true, what else isn't true?
Well, that's our takeaway.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm trying to figure out, why is the left upset with the left? Why is the left upset with their president pardoning his son? It doesn't make any sense to me.
You know what? I think it's just because it makes them look stupid. It makes them look bad.
You know, that's probably the simple answer.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's and then I heard a really interesting question posed yesterday. It says, will Joe Biden get a presidential library? And if he does, what would he put in it?
That's a good one. Okay.
Golly.
The way you ask the question, it kind of suggests nothing.
What are you going to put in it? The Hunter,
Hunter in jail?
Yeah.
Probably just an open jail cell.
We can show
that's the only thing you put in his library.
With department head trans pictures, we said, well, he was the first in that, and he pardoned his son, and this wing is empty.
That's a great question.
Oh my goodness!
I don't know. This is really an amazing thing to watch happen.
Yeah.
But it does open the door for some other things to happen. Some people are saying that Dershowitz is saying that the president should pardon Trump. Carte blanche.
Yeah.
Could he pardon himself?
You know what?
Potential.
Yes,
indictment.
I heard that he actually could, and that the president actually has the power to really pardon anybody he wants, including himself.
So he could pardon himself from future prosecution, even though the pardoning of his son stops that investigation.
Yes.
So that is a kind of a partial self-pardon.
I think you're right, yeah.
The thing is so complicated and so corrupt, you just want to go, how did this ever happen in America?
Yes, and wasn't it interesting, the timing that Joe Biden did on this? He does this over the weekend and then gets on a plane and heads out of the country.
Well, there you go.
And he disappears.
Well, he should. Yeah, maybe not bring him back. I don't know. Look, we're 30-something days, 40 days away from a change, and we'll see what happens.
But you know what? Unfortunately, there are still things going on in the government, and sometimes some of it's under our nose, but we don't see it. You know, we have Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, part of Doge, the head of Doge. And one of the main things that they want to do is make people go back to work.
Yeah.
We have Biden administration officials working against that, as a Biden administration appointee has agreed to lock in hybrid work protections for tens of thousands of Social Security staff. Basically, they're saying you guys don't have to come back into the office.
Well, look, I think we're in for a shakeup, and I'm not saying that everything Trump's going to do is going to be perfect.
Well, true. Yeah.
I think that we need to look at this pragmatically, and the bottom line is, I don't know how many people voted for Trump that were really voting against the nonsense, and Trump happens to be the agent. So we'll see where this is going. But it's time for a big change in America, and we're heading that way.
Yeah, and I think, isn't it interesting, though, that people really, if that was the case, if they're voting for a change and they're looking to get out of what we're under right now, they really had to be sick of it, because a lot of people just wouldn't vote for Trump in the last cycle.
That's the point.
Yeah.
You made the point. That's where you're the head elf.
Hey, I just do the weather.
Yeah, let me get you an elf hat.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, got some great guests coming up. Michael Busler will try to explain what's going on with the president's proposed economic policies, and he's not a pro-tariff guy, but we'll talk to him about, can they be used as a tool?
Yeah.
And I think we'll find out. And then I'll have Major Fred Galvin on. He had the book, A Few Bad Men. This is an amazing story. His was the longest military trial on record. And he was exonerated. But we'll talk to him about the future of the military with the Trump administration coming in. So big changes are ahead. Big changes are ahead.
Yeah, we're going to see the wokeness disappear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that we might even see, I want to say this carefully because I know it's not popular, so I'll say it really carefully. We may see some transgenders walk to the door.
Oh. Yeah.
Have a nice day. Go out.
Right.
We can't have this in here.
Yep. I hope so. But hey, we've seen a lot of changes in the way that we protect our heads. We grew up in a day and age, we rode bikes, we didn't wear helmets.
No,
I played ice hockey without a helmet on.
I rode in a car without a seatbelt.
Yeah, no helmets, no seatbelts. It's amazing.
I stood in the back of my dad's truck going down the highway at 50 miles an hour.
And, now, of course, we wear helmets for everything. We do it skiing and snowboarding and You know, if you get on your bike, of course. In fact, we can't get on our bikes. Pam and I can't get on our bikes around our grandkids without putting our helmet on. They're like, you can't do that. Yeah, you cannot ride your bike without a helmet. They just look,
devils.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's like, and with this "do as I say, not as I do" thing doesn't work anymore.
Grandpa,
isn't that weird?
Get your helmet on.
All right. Well, how about some other areas where we really haven't thought about head injuries, and you think, really? Well, check this out. How about soccer players? They bounce a ball off their head all the time, and it's called a header.
A new study suggests that bouncing a soccer ball off the head during play could be doing real damage to the brain. MRI brain scans of male and female soccer athletes suggest that lots of heading could damage areas of the brain already known to be linked to debilitating concussion-linked conditions such as chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Study senior author Dr. Michael Lipton, professor of the Columbia University Irving Medical Center in New York City, said, "The potential effects of repeated head impacts in sport are much more extensive than previously known and affect locations similar to where we've seen CTE pathology. This raises concern for delayed adverse effects of head impacts." The study found that folks who headed a lot of balls were also more likely to have what researchers called poor verbal learning. The new data might end up helping athletes. Lipton said that characterizing the potential risks of repetitive head impacts can facilitate safer sport engagement to maximize benefits while minimizing potential harms. Because these findings are to be presented at an upcoming medical meeting, they should be considered preliminary until published in a peer-reviewed journal.
So are we going to see helmets on the soccer field?
What about the bringing back the old leather heads?
Oh, yeah. That was the old football helmet. Yeah, imagine. I wonder how many.
Do they don't need a thick helmet. They just need a little padding.
But I think that, they changed it for football, though. And you know, the other thing is, what's the football derivative sport? I think football came out of it. What's it called?
Rugby.
Rugby. Yeah, those guys. How about them?
Well, there you go.
Whoa.
I mean, rugby, the bumper sticker said,
yeah,
give blood, play rugby.
And you that's great.
Well, you go down with the All Blacks in New Zealand.
Yes.
That's the bumper sticker.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's done in the New Zealand leaf.
Uh-huh.
Black, and then they have the Kiwi, and then they have this little sign, and then, of course, the All Blacks is like the national heroes, and they have this little sign down there that says, give blood, play rugby.
That's very good. You know, they're even designing helmets now for one impact use. Basically, they are designed kind of like a car to break apart and to absorb the shock and the impact. And then it's only good for one. Then you have to go get another one. It's like, okay, what do you put that one up as a trophy? There's that one saved me.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, got a few seconds. I want to encourage you. Let me see if I can grab this without everything falling off the table. We've had a very special lady in our listening and viewing area buy 12 of these Life Essential Study Bibles to give away. And she thinks so highly of them. So do we do, too. And of course, you know, Gene Getz. Dr. Getz is the chief editor of this. And people buy these for all kinds of reasons, but you talk about a great Christmas gift. And anyway, this Bible has 1,500 QR codes from Genesis to Revelation, and Dr. Getz pops up when you run your QR reader over one of those QR codes. There he is in a video, and he'll walk you through that portion of Scripture. Now, he's a seminary professor, retired. He's well respected and known. These Bibles now are being used all over the world to even teach English, believe it or not. So anyway, we have 12 of these to give away during the 12 days of Christmas. You can go to theDove.us, click on the menu, go down to this page where it says giveaways, fill in the information, get your name in the hat, and we'll start drawing 12 names out starting next week, one a day, until they're given away. And who knows, you could win this. This is a seminary in a box.
Yeah.
It really is. All right. Yeah. Take with you Hebrews 4:16. Let us therefore come boldly to the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in the time of need. All right. Go boldly to the throne today. Turn off all your devices. Be alone with him for a little while, okay? We'll be right back.
your way. Have it your way.
Pops, this isn't a burger joint.
Yeah, this is a jewelry store.
With Lashbrook, you can change anything from width to size to material. The best part is the warranties. Free through us, genuine lifetime warranty, and a lifetime free resizing. No strings attached and no fine print.
It's good to be the king. I get to choose.
Everyone can choose with Lashbrook, Pops.
Come into Father and Son Jewelry and have it your way.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian owned and operated, pet friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Have you seen Mornings on the Dove?
How are you at coping with challenges in your life? Is your fuse short? Is your fuse long? How does it work with you?
Listen, but when I get home, I've redefined challenged every day.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay, I can't wait to hear it.
I think I'm challenged.
Okay,
I know you are.
Life's too serious. Add some fun to your morning. Watch Mornings on the Dove, 6 to 8 a.m.
For 68 years, Ray's Food Place has been the fresh choice for your family. We're your local employee-owned grocery store. Count on us for hot buys every week and fantastic Friday one-day deals. Here's this week's one-day special offer. But remember, fantastic Friday deals are only available one day each week. Community-focused and convenient. That's Ray's Food Place. Proud to be your local employee-owned grocery store. It's time to run to Ray's.
Get ready for fun at Rogue Ski Shop Think Snow Sale. Boulder Gear clothing now 20% off. Goggles, adults starting at $29, kids starting at $26. All Scott gloves 20% off. If you ski or ride, it's time to slide into Rogue Ski Shop Medford.
Folks, the Dove TV is encouraging and informative. Join me for the John Ankerberg Show weekdays at 4 p.m. right here on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Santa's Little Text Center here. This is where all the emails and texts going to Santa Claus come through our desk here. And here,
you don't send them to the North Pole, do you?
No. So anyway, I'm Little Elf. This is Big Elf.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Anyway, I was curious kids sending texts. There's a little. I forget where it was. I don't know how I get stuff. It just pops up, you know.
Yeah.
I think if you think, it shows up.
It shows up, yeah.
And so
yes.
There was this little thing about the text center of Santa's text center of kids now sending texts and emails to Santa.
Oh, I didn't even think of this.
Yeah. You know, so no longer do you sit on his lap and bring the list.
Right.
You know, you send him texts. Hey, Santa. Yeah, well. So anyway.
Are we going to start praying through text?
I don't know.
I hope not.
I did ask the Lord one day. This is when the fax machine was going like crazy.
Yeah.
When we first got faxes.
Oh,
and everybody was faxing everybody funnies and all this and that. You didn't know what was going to come out of the machine.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I was seeking the Lord's direction on something. I couldn't get a clear answer. I said, Lord, you invented the fax machine. Send me a fax. Just send me a
Bring
fax.
it on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
But anyway, happy Wednesday to you. A lot going on out there. Pretty icy, so be careful. Anything special?
Well, it is Wildlife Conservation Day, especially protecting, poaching and the smuggling of animals. And you think of a lot of big game situations, especially like in the African continent. Yeah. But, poaching and stuff, that goes on everywhere.
Everywhere.
And in fact, I even had a situation. I was out working out on my trail one day. My dog started barking like crazy, and I thought, what's going on? I stopped coming up the trail, and they're barking at this tree, at this stand of trees, and all of a sudden, and I'm looking, I can't see anything. All of a sudden, this guy in full camo, just standing still, realizes that my dog's got him, and he moves and he starts heading out. He starts walking across the trail, and I look, and I'm carrying a rifle. He was a poacher. It wasn't seasoned. And I looked at him and I said, "Hey, dude, you're on private property." And he goes, "I know. I'm just passing through." I said, "Keep going." But so it happens everywhere.
Yeah, I think that, look, I was raised with a sportsman family and all that, and you just go by the rules.
Yeah.
And poachers to me are very low people.
Yeah. But anyway, it was a good thing to have the dogs. The only thing I didn't have, the only thing I had for protection was a dog. And I thought, this dude's got a rifle. Keep going, man. Anyway.
Hey, buddy. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
But keep going.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's also National Sock Day. And this is to celebrate people who actually wear matching socks.
Wow.
You know, they stick together.
But socks now become very fashionable.
Yeah, yes.
People sitting down, the whole thing is to wear wild socks.
Wild socks, and sometimes they don't even have to match like my grandkids do.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So, and you've done it. You've worn mismatching socks.
Well, at 4 in the morning, you cannot tell the difference between black and navy blue. You can't do it. And if you put them close together in the same drawer, you're in trouble. I actually literally put the blues on the left and the blacks on the right. So
here's what I've done.
Yeah.
Early in the morning, it's dark 30. I'm getting ready to come to work. My prime goal, not only to get ready, but is to not wake Pam up. And so I go into the laundry room, and I'm thinking there's fresh laundry on top, and I look, and there's nothing there except a pile of mismatched socks. Do you guys ever have that? A pile of mismatched socks? Well, they're solo socks.
Yeah.
They don't have a match.
So where do they go?
Where do they go?
Where in the dryer do they go?
Yeah.
Where is this sock hole? This black sock hole.
Boy. Yeah, it's the black hole of socks. Yes!
There's got to be out there somewhere.
So you know what I did? Rather than go in and try find socks in my sock drawer and maybe wake Pam up, I picked the two that were, the closest.
I noticed that.
I'm not kidding. And I feel good about it because I've seen my grandkids just do it on purpose.
Yeah, you're okay today.
It's okay. What do I got on today? Yeah, I found two. Anyway, it's also National Package Protection Day. This is important any time of year, but especially this time of year, because we're getting more and more things delivered. And, of course, the Amazon Fulfillment Center is probably busier than they've ever been.
And texting it to you?
They take pictures of your package in front of the wrong house and send it to you. They did that to us.
I know. This is the new deal. I don't know how they get all the connection, but all of a sudden it's on your phone. It's delivered at the front of your door.
Yeah. And now the other thing about Package Protection Day, we get a lot of delivery trucks up the driveway. And, we live in the country, so we have dogs running around out there. And some of them get to know my dogs, and they have treats and stuff.
Yeah.
But the others that are new on the job, they don't like them. And I saw Amazon pull in the other day, and I happened to be in working out, and I saw him out there, so I'll go out and I go walking out there, and the dogs are around, and he's got his windows halfway up, and he's just sitting in his rig. He's not even trying to deliver the package or anything. I come walking over there, I say, "Hey, good afternoon." And he goes, "Oh, I'm glad it's you. I'm trying to get a hold of you on my phone." He wouldn't open the door.
Wow. Well, I like the sign that says ammo's expensive, no more warning shots. Just put that by your door.
I love it. And this is an easy one. It's a great day. It is National Cookie Day. And ladies, thank you for the cookies because we are enjoying them. We've been talking about how hard it is to walk past them without grabbing something.
Yeah.
It is almost impossible. But some great cookies out there and some good ones on the screen here.
Ooh.
Enjoy whatever you enjoy the most.
There you go.
So,
all right. Happy cookies. All right. Well, speaking of somebody that gives warning shots still, he does the weather here.
High pressure will continue to bring sunny, dry weather with fog in some interior valleys. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny with daytime highs in the upper 40s for Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville. Early fog, then cloudy and near 46 in Wilsonville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with patchy, dense freezing fog, then cloudy with daytime high temperatures in the low to mid 40s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with lows in the 30s. Sunny skies today across central Oregon with daytime highs near 41 in Prineville, 43 in Bend, and near 40 in Sun River with lows tonight in the 20s. Over in Boise, Idaho, patchy fog, then sunny in low 40s. Along the Oregon coast, sunny with high temperatures in the mid-50s for Coos Bay and Port Orford and near 58 in Brookings. In Crescent City, California, patchy fog before 10 a.m., then sunny in upper 50s. In southern Oregon, areas of patchy freezing fog, otherwise mostly cloudy in 48 in Grants Pass and 46 in Medford. Sunny in Ashland with a high near 54. In the Klamath Basin, mostly cloudy in mid-40s. Into Northern California, patchy freezing fog with a high near 41 in Wairika. Sunny with daytime high temperatures near 67 in Redding and 63 in Chico. Patchy fog, then sunny and near 62 in Sacramento. In the Bay Area, patchy dense fog, then sunny and near 67 in Santa Rosa. Sunny in mid-60s for Napa and San Francisco with a light north wind. And today in San Jose, sunny with a high near 70. It's a look at your Wednesday weather on the Dove.
Wow, look at that. Where's that? Is that from the lodge?
Yeah, see that is Mount McLaughlin over there in the glow. Yeah, this is actually looking down at the bottom of the Winter Run. And there's a Patsy's Way. It's kind of an alleyway. When you come shooting off the mountain, most people come right through there. You got to keep it down a little bit because it's easy to get going too fast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So be careful out there.
Good stuff.
Well, Ecclesiastes is one of the great wisdom literature books of the Bible, and Dr. David Jeremiah encourages us to take a look at it.
Walter Kaiser, who is a wonderful scholar, has paraphrased these verses that we just read like this, and I want to read his paraphrase. Listen carefully. Look with wonder, admire, and silently wait for the result of God's work. The contrasts of life are deliberately allowed by God so that men should ultimately develop a simple trust and dependence in God. For prosperity and the goods from God's hand, be thankful and rejoice, which is what we're doing today. But in adversity and the crookedness of life, think. Reflect on the goodness of God and the comprehensiveness of His plan for men. What Solomon teaches us is that we ought to thank God that we have learned from the troubles we've had too. We all rejoice when everything's good and we're so thankful, but can you learn from God how to be thankful that in the midst of the storm, God's there? I'll tell you the truth. God is never closer to you than He is when you're going through adversity. And you almost feel sorry for people who have never been in that place to see and to sense the wonderful provision of God.
Mm-hmm. Well, be encouraged. You know, take a look. Let's take that with the Ecclesiastes 7.
Yes.
You ever read Ecclesiastes?
Yes. Yep.
It's kind of a mind-boggling thing that Solomon writes there.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the index of his mind.
Yeah. It's very poetic. It is wisdom literature. It's an amazing book. Yeah.
Well, the season one is you got to really think about the season. There's a season for everything: a time to die, a time to live, a time to give, a time to hold.
Yes.
So, time to shoot, time to duck.
That actually went into popular music culture that came out of Ecclesiastes. A lot of hippies didn't realize what they were listening to.
There you go.
Sorry.
All right, good morning. 10:30 past the hour. Let's take a look at the top stories. And are you ready for the Maple Leaf 51? This is the most hilarious story I've seen in a month.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, President-elect Trump has suggested a 25% tariff to Canada and to Mexico if they don't cooperate with the border. Well, that upset Prime Minister Trudeau, so what's he do? He heads out of Canada and flies down to Mar-a-Lago and meets with President-elect Trump about this tariff thing. And they're having dinner. And if I can use the term, because I want to be respectful here, but the Donald leans over to Trudeau and says, hey, why don't we just make you the 51st state, and you can be the governor. That was like the biggest troll of a lifetime.
Huge.
I mean, it just rocked the boat. And I go, how amazing. Now, you got to understand the dynamics in Canada. Canada is a Commonwealth country. They speak English and French up there. We do import a lot of lumber from Canada. But Trudeau is basically a socialist.
Yeah.
Some Commonwealth countries are soft socialism, and he has taken it to the highest level of soft socialism. He's very dictatorial in his thinking and his actions, and he is very, very unpopular. They'd like to get rid of him, but they can't wait. They have to wait till the term.
Okay.
I don't think they have like a throw-out clause up there.
Yeah, it was kind of like in Israel. Anytime things get dicey, they have an election.
Yeah,
it's
up
weird.
there, it's the Parliament rule, and I don't know if they have an impeachment clause. I don't think they do, so they have to wait till the term. But he's very unpopular, and a very high likelihood he will not get reelected. You got to remember what he did to the truckers and he did to the pastor up there, and the list goes on and on and on.
Yes.
So to offer him statehood, it wouldn't surprise me that a lot of Canadians would seriously consider this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they would rather have the economy and the wherewithal of the United States. Everybody brags about the so-called Canadian health system.
Yeah.
Why do they cross the border to come here to have their surgeries?
Yeah, and there are a lot of them.
So anyway, we go on and on about that. But the point being, can you imagine there's going to be a new hat out with the maple leaf, red maple leaf on it, and 51. I thought, I'm sorry, that just
should the president of Mexico take note?
Apparently, she's starting to acquiesce a little bit.
Yeah, she was pretty defiant initially.
Yeah, initially, but 25% is a big chunk.
Yes, it is.
And so there's the Donald doing his thing. But I don't know. I just thought the whole idea was a shock because you know what? When you look back on how we got how we got Alaska and how we got Hawaii, we're almost similar conditions.
Yeah,
they were in a tough spot,
right?
And we bought them.
We bought them, right?
Yeah. And so I don't.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you were a world leader, or if you were going to advise world leaders on dealing with the incoming president, would you suggest reading The Art of the Deal?
Oh, gosh. Look, I read it. I probably should read it again. The book is amazing only because you have to get to the end of it. The first part of the book is how great Donald Trump is.
Okay.
I mean, it's narcissism on steroids. Okay.
Yeah.
But when you get kind of into it a little bit, then the deals start popping up.
Okay.
And you see a pattern. There's a couple of patterns there. You always go for the absolute optimum.
Okay.
Knowing what you really want is 3 or 4 steps back from that.
Okay.
So he never starts there.
Right.
Look what he did. He reaches out to Canada and throws us out there. What's it? The first thing they do, they're at his doorstep.
Right. They come to Mar-a-Lago. Yeah.
The other thing you'll read from the book that's really interesting to me, and you have to have the means to do this. And this is one thing about the Democrats, I think, are still shaking their head about Donald Trump. All right, don't get me wrong, this sounds like very pro-Trump stuff, but you got to learn some stuff from the guy. And one of them is, if you're going to sue him, he is going to countersue you within hours and move you from offense to defense.
Yeah.
And you can look at every deal where he gets sued, he countersues. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, he has the means to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Guess who's learning that? Elon Musk is learning that.
Oh.
Every time Elon Musk gets hit, he hits back harder. He learned that from Trump. That's kind of fun to watch.
What a duo.
And then the other part of the book you really got to read is how he got Mar-a-Lago. You know, he bought Mar-a-Lago for $5 million.
Yeah, and he got turned down. Wasn't his initial offer like 26 or something like that?
They turned it down, and then it goes through a bunch of stuff, and then you got to read the whole history. And he ends up buying it for $5 million.
Wow.
I mean, it's just an amazing deal. All right, so on to story number 2. Apparently, the House, U.S. House of Representatives, has been settled, and the big race was the last one to be called, which was the 13th Congressional District in the state of California, and the Democrat eked it out. He eked out the Republican by 187 votes, the tightest race in the United States. And so, anyway, Adam Gray will become the new representative from District 13 there in California. So that leaves the margin, Democrats 215 and the Republicans 220. Some say 219. I don't know where the line is. This all happened within the last 24 hours. So somewhere between 219 and 220, the Republicans have control of the House. They need 218 to have the majority. So that's where that's going to stay. This is going to be a challenge for the incoming speaker. If it's going to be Speaker, what's his name?
Johnson?
Johnson, excuse me, because I got so many people. Johnson, if he retains, Here's the problem with this narrow margin. You have to have all the Republicans show up, or you're not going to move the ball forward.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where we are with that. All right, some good stuff there. And, gosh, just a whole lot of fun. And protect your packages.
Cookies.
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 Well, there's so many cookies out there. But you can tell how people eat them.
Uh-huh.
Have you noticed how the plates went down?
Yeah.
The first one was the chocolate chip.
Uh-huh.
Now
Yes.
we're working on the ginger snaps and the other chocolate.
They'll all go.
They all go down.
They all go.
We'll be right back.
Black Flag Armory offers top brand affordable rifles, shotguns, handguns, and gear. We also offer an array of classes emphasizing safety, self-defense, and accuracy. We strive to provide the absolute best possible experience when buying a firearm. Family friendly for every skill level, Black Flag Armory in Medford and Grants Pass. Online at blackflagarms.com or 541-499-0779. 541-499-0779.
It's one of the most important decisions that you make, which insurance company to choose for the health care that best meets your needs. Turning 65, we have answers. Under 65, we have answers. New to the area, call us 541-301-8787. I'm Don Lockett, a local independent agent representing multiple companies but always working for you. Check out donlockettinsurance.com. Healthcare tailored to your needs.
Sometimes I hear people say when I ask them how they're doing, I'm doing okay down under the circumstances. But we don't belong under the circumstances. We belong above the circumstances. We're not undercomers, we're overcomers. Amen? Live a life of unstoppable strength, unmovable faith, and unbelievable power. Discover how you can be an overcomer.
For 68 years, Ray's Food Place has been the fresh choice for your family. We're your local employee-owned grocery store. Count on us for hot buys every week and fantastic Friday one-day deals. Here's this week's one-day special offer. But remember, fantastic Friday deals are only available one day each week. Community-focused and convenient. That's Ray's Food Place. Proud to be your local employee-owned grocery store. It's time to run to Ray's.
Well, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday as we move on down the December trail here. Icy out there this morning. Be careful. Foggy, icy. Beautiful, though. And I just kind of couldn't get over how from Thursday, and today is Wednesday, so almost a week later, the whole town lit up with Christmas lights.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Hey, do you have all your leaves up?
I haven't pushed around.
aren't the blowers good?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have neighbors to push it onto?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I got to be careful because there's one that's kind of challenging. So.
Okay. Well, my grandkids don't want to come back up until I get all mine done.
Why?
I put them to work.
Oh. Well, you know what you do? The greatest trick there is, Grandpa.
What?
You have them use the blowers and the rakes and put it in a pile, then let them play in the pile.
Yes, you know what? Yeah,
you know? Then set it on fire.
They want to see it burn.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have a burn
it for a while.
We're gonna have a burn party again.
All
right.
I want to come up. Okay. All right. Well, listen. The Pacific Northwest made some news. ICE used a airport in Washington State to deport migrants, but that movement was stopped by an executive order there in Seattle. Well, the Trump administration appealed that decision to the Ninth Circuit, which is so interesting to me, and they overturned it. So the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which is ICE, can now continue to using the Seattle airport for chartered deportation flights. Now, there's also a move across the country, long before President Trump becomes president. The governors of red states are saying, all right, we'll work with you. We will consolidate these illegals in areas where you can come in and pick them up and deport them.
Wow.
Can you imagine this?
Oh, wow.
this is stunning.
Do you think we're going to see some movement on some of these defiant governors or mayors across the country as court cases come in and the judicial system upholds the rule of law?
I think there'll be that. But let's just take a hypothetical example of what could be reality. You know, the governor, the mayor of Denver said he's going to harbor them.
Right, and he's willing to go to jail.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the legal side, they could send him to jail for breaking the law of harboring an illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
In the meantime, the red state governors are going to work with the administration to deport people.
Right.
That's going to tell the illegal immigrants, let's go to cities like Denver.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So
yes.
they're going to go to Denver.
Right.
And Denver is going to be overrun with them, and the citizens are going to get ticked off and throw the mayor out. They're going to lose this thing.
You know, that could happen to all sanctuary cities.
They're going to lose it in time. The citizens have had enough.
And California is a sanctuary state.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to get overloaded, and they're trying to deal with it now, but they're digging in now. Gavin Newsom's digging in as well.
Well, and then they'll get overloaded. They can't afford it. The crime rate's going to go crazy, all the other things that go with it. So this election was more about rejecting the left's policy than it was electing Trump. So I think what you have going on here, if they're going to deport them and that forces people to go to the blue cities or sanctuary cities, they got the legal issue on their side, and then they're going to have the citizens on their side because a beautiful city like Denver will not put up with this.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just a matter of time.
Yep.
All right, so we'll take a. Stocks.
No. Yeah, let's do stocks.
What's happening with the big board this morning? Let's take a look. Thank you, Preston. He heads up Smart Lawn. And if you're tired of mowing and watering and doing all that stuff and not putting in an irrigation system,
I'll bet you leaves blow off a Smart Lawn really easy.
You know, that's your new mower.
Yes.
A blower's your new mower.
There you go.
Okay, the Dow's up 206 points. The Nasdaq is up 143 points. And the S&P 500 pushing 17 points up. So some green ink over there this morning. Could be because they're going to have a deportation. I don't know. That pushed gold to $26.72. Silver's up almost to $72. And crude oil's up almost $2. $73.73. So green ink across all the landscape there.
Isn't it amazing how victimhood in this country and actually worldwide has just keep going up and up? There are more and more victims all the time. But Victor Davis Hanson talks to PragerU about the Marxist need to create a victim class using DEI.
And the DEI woke firm, whatever you want to call it, says anybody who is not so-called white fits into the cultural Marxist paradigm. Victim, victimizer. Oppressed, oppressor. And that was very successful because it flew in the face of all traditional criteria of oppression. So all of a sudden, Professor Kendi is a victim. Oprah is a victim. Oprah says she went into a Swiss store and somebody didn't give her a lizard purse and she's suddenly a victim. LeBron James is a victim. Michelle Obama was at a Target and she lifted up, tried to get a package that somebody requested. She's a victim. And so what they did was they bifurcated the United States into 67% or whatever they call of oppressors, and the rest 33% of oppressed. And then they made this colonialist or anti-colonialist argument. And you have what you have because of your race and privilege and oppression. It's anti-empirical. And you say to them, okay, there's a guy in Bakersfield, he's never gone to high school, his son's on a forklift, they have no privilege at all, you tell me, well, he's white. He's white. And so that was a really pernicious, and that came in really with Barack Obama. There was a word was not in white currency, diversity, and suddenly he took that word, and that was diversity. All of a sudden I thought, I was teaching, and I would go, and I heard there were people that I had known my entire lives in my community and at Cal State or Stanford, and they were from India, and they were Sikhs, and they came with enormous amounts of money. I knew people from Korea that came, and all of a sudden they were telling me they were victims.
Yeah.
I didn't know, Victor, that this place was so racist. I said, well, can you show me what happened? You own 5,000 acres. You're a multimillionaire. Well, I don't, but my daughter came home and told, and that's where we are now. We're cultural Marxism that's bifurcated. There's no middle class, we say, and everybody is trying to find a gimmick or a lever. So when you reward that, then everybody comes out of the woodwork, whether it's Elizabeth Warren trying to create an identity of a victim, or I just saw the other day Buffy St. Marie, a folk singer that I always thought was Native American. We find out she wasn't, she's Italian. And it's this fixation in our society on race, and it permeates everything.
Yeah, he's right.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Can you say reparation? That's what that's all about.
Yep. Yep.
And you can't afford this. You know, why do people from other countries still want to come to the United States? And then they're told they're victims. But really, in their heart, the reason they want to come to the United States is for all the opportunities that it affords them.
Yes.
And then they're categorized into a victimhood, and they never really take advantage of what the United States is really all about. They get paid down, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'd love to have him on the show. We've had requests into him. One day I'll get him. I want to talk to him.
Yeah, I hope so.
But, oh, gosh, it just makes so much sense.
Yep.
It really does. Okay, we'll take a cookie break. I think that's what we do here.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free, and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
The big idea of Christianity is to live coram Deo, to live all of one's life in the presence of God, under the authority of God, and to the honor and to the glory of God. Let me say that again. The big idea, coram Deo, is to live one's life in the presence of God, under the authority of God, to the honor and glory of God. That's what it's all about. Jesus said it succinctly this way: if you love me, keep my commandments. Which is to say, if you want to please me, you please me by doing what I have commanded you to do.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
We're kind of laughing here because, you know, I think we ought to make a show of the breaks.
Yeah, that's where all the action happens.
But Jerry and I have Apple Watches.
Yeah, and
it dings us when the stand.
And it dings us at the same time.
So someday we ought to be standing, and when the camera comes on, you just see our waist. What a thought, you know.
Yeah.
You just see our torso. You don't see any heads or anything.
Just trying to get my stand time.
Yeah, we're getting our 30-second stand here. Anyway, good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. Got to keep a little levity in life, folks.
Yeah.
You got to lighten up. Enjoy life. All right, but back to a serious moment, and that is what's happening in the Middle East and CBN Newswatch. Let's check in and find out what's going on.
This is CBN Newswatch.
And we want to begin in the Middle East, where Israeli leaders are demanding the Lebanese army move to stop Hezbollah attacks against the Jewish state in violation of the recent ceasefire. Israel is warning Lebanon itself will pay a price if their military does not take action. And we are hearing the responses to President-elect Donald Trump's threat to Hamas to release their hostages. Our Chris Mitchell brings us the story. He's reporting from Jerusalem.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made it clear that the ceasefire is not an end of the war and that Israel will not accept a return to the status before the October 7th attacks. Israel's defense minister Yisrael Katz warned Lebanon what will happen if the ceasefire breaks down.
If we return to war, we will act strongly. We will go deeper. And the most important thing they need to know is that there will no longer be an exemption for the state of Lebanon.
Under the shadow of the fragile ceasefire, some residents are cautiously returning to their homes.
We have a clear goal to return the residents, to rehabilitate the North. We are enforcing this ceasefire with an iron fist, acting against any violation, minor or major.
Netanyahu also thanked President Trump for his bold warning to those holding the hostages in Gaza. Trump wrote, "Those responsible will be hit harder than anybody has been hit in the long and storied history of the United States of America."
This adds another force to our continuing effort to release all the hostages. Thank you, President Trump.
CBN's Faith Nation interviewed one of the fathers of a hostage still held in Gaza. Ruby Han appreciated Trump's warning to Hamas.
Well, I think the language that the president-elect used in that post is exactly the type of language we need. The United States citizens, should be safe wherever they are.
Han wonders why the Biden administration can't be that forceful.
Why is it that the United States, with all of its power, is not able to do more to squeeze Hamas to a place that it could get to a deal?
A new report also predicts a centerpiece of Trump's foreign policy in the region. It says Iranian regime change likely to be the focus of Trump Middle East policy. This will manifest as an enhanced version of the maximum pressure campaign with the explicit goal of regime change in Tehran. Iran is also under pressure in Syria, where radical Muslim rebels are threatening the Syrian regime, one of Iran's major regional allies. These radical Muslims have taken Aleppo, Syria's second largest city, and forced thousands to flee.
We were attacked by armed militias. They displaced us against our will. They started to threaten people, saying they would kill and behead them, so we left.
We'll talk about more of the dangers those Christians face in a moment, but let me ask you first. Israel says Lebanon will not get an exemption if the war with Hezbollah resumes. What might Israel do?
Well, what's going to happen right now, Ephraim, is if they do resume, Hezbollah targets will be hit, but also Lebanese targets. For example, in Beirut, the IDF hit the stronghold, the area in the city. They didn't hit the airport or Lebanese infrastructure. And the threats seems to be that Lebanese are going to be targeted. Now, what that could do, Ephraim, is put more internal pressure on Hezbollah from the Lebanese themselves.
Some Israelis are finally returning to their homes in the north after leaving because of the strikes by Hezbollah. Could Hezbollah attack them again? And how committed is Israel to protecting them?
Well, that's a concern that Hezbollah could attack them again, and protecting them, all those residents, and returning them to the north several weeks ago became one of the official war goals of Israel. But many residents of the north really thought the ceasefire, about more than a week ago was premature and that it didn't defeat Hezbollah entirely. Which is why we don't see a flood of people going back to the north. It really, right now, seems to be more like a trickle. And those that are coming back are seeing the damage to their homes and their communities firsthand. Just to remember, on October 8th, 2023, that's when Hezbollah began firing rockets in support of Hamas after the October 7th massacre. There was a mandatory evacuation right along the border, about 5 kilometers, which would be about 3 miles from the Lebanese border. More than 60,000 people have been living more than a year as refugees in their own country, and it's not sure when they all will go back, if all of them will ever go back.
I don't know. that's just a roller coaster.
It is.
So we'll have to wait until the next 40 days and see what happens.
Yeah, and you don't realize or think about how long it's been since some of these people were back in their homes, and what's there when they get there.
Well, yeah, and how do you relocate?
Yeah.
When your assets up there, your tangible asset of a family is your home and your property and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's been wiped out. What do you do, and how do you start life over?
Mm-hmm. This is kind of a side thought, but it's kind of on the same subject. What do you think Benjamin Netanyahu was thinking when he heard President-elect Trump say there will be hell to pay?
Well, it's kind of like what Chris Mitchell said, our friend Chris. He said, finally.
There you go.
Finally, the response from the United States that we've been waiting for.
Yeah, good.
And I think that gives him, Netanyahu, great hope.
Mm-hmm.
Can the president-elect do anything about that between now and then? Well, he can throw a lot of words out there, and they are powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens.
All right.
All right, good morning to you. Let's check out a guy that always is powerful.
High pressure will continue to bring sunny, dry weather with fog in some interior valleys. So today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, sunny with daytime highs in the upper 40s for Vancouver, Portland, and McMinnville. Early fog, then cloudy and near 46 in Wilsonville. Continuing down the Willamette Valley with patchy, dense freezing fog, then cloudy with daytime high temperatures in the low to mid 40s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with lows in the 30s. Sunny skies today across central Oregon with daytime highs near 41 in Prineville, 43 in Bend, and near 40 in Sun River with lows tonight in the 20s. Over in Boise, Idaho, patchy fog, then sunny in low 40s. Along the Oregon coast, sunny with high temperatures in the mid-50s for Coos Bay and Port Orford and near 58 in Brookings. In Crescent City, California, patchy fog before 10 a.m., then sunny in upper 50s. In southern Oregon, areas of patchy freezing fog, otherwise mostly cloudy in 48 in Grants Pass and 46 in Medford. Sunny in Ashland with a high near 54. In the Klamath Basin, mostly cloudy in mid-40s. Into northern California, patchy freezing fog with a high near 41 in Wairika. Sunny with daytime high temperatures near 67 in Redding and 63 in Chico. Patchy fog, then sunny and near 62 in Sacramento. In the Bay Area, patchy dense fog, then sunny and near 67 in Santa Rosa. Sunny in mid-60s for Napa and San Francisco with a light north wind. And today in San Jose, sunny with a high near 70. It's a look at your Wednesday weather on the Dove.
Okay, that is...
That's not Mount Ashland, is that?
That's a couple of old guys.
Yeah, right.
There we go. Where is that?
I don't know. Jackson
that's gotta
County
be off of
scanner
Roxanne.
feed. Yeah, Roxanne, you're right. You got it.
Yeah, that's got to be that's a beautiful shot.
Hot dog.
So above the fog is a beautiful day, and so it's cold out there. But in the meantime, wait for it because that's what's happening. With my house, it's 30.
Oh.
So it's cold.
I'm getting it here, 32. So, we kind of get excited about technological advances. You know, you get your watches and your phones and your laptops and stuff, and we just keep getting more and more and more. Well, that's always been the case, but in days gone by, technology looked a little different because in 1812, the U.S. was largely an agrarian society where most people lived on farms or in small rural villages. Farm work was hard and done mostly by hand. But that year, a piece of equipment was invented, technology that was revolutionary.
In the summer of 1812, in the quiet town of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Peter Gaylord had a vision. Tired of the back-breaking labor of mowing fields by hand, he wondered if there could be a better way. With a keen mind and heart full of determination, he set to work in his workshop, designing a machine that would revolutionize farming. After countless hours of tinkering, he succeeded. A horse-drawn mower capable of cutting grass with ease and efficiency. On the morning of December 12, 1812, Peter proudly filed his patent for the innovative device. The horse-drawn mower would soon change the landscape of agriculture, saving farmers time and energy. It wasn't just a machine, it was a breakthrough that promised to lighten the load of countless families. Peter Gaylord's invention echoed the spirit of innovation which continued, forever altering the way fields were cultivated and harvested.
Wow. While looking at the tail of a horse.
Yeah, the Amish.
Yeah.
Quakers
Yes.
still do that the old-fashioned way, and you know, it's really a sight to see if you ever go through the Amish country and see it.
I haven't been there. That would be good. And you know what? Speaking of the Amish, you know, I saw a great meme the other day. It says, you know, it's got to be really important when the Amish start to vote. And they did in the last cycle.
They did.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I think that is pretty interesting. By the way, I have come up with I'm trying to think, BUSA.
BUSA.
Yeah, I think Elon Musk ought to form a company and call it BUSA.
And that would be?
And BUSA, I'll tell you what that means in a minute.
Okay.
But BUSA would buy up traditional American companies and make sure they stay in the United States.
Oh.
Start with John Deere.
Yeah.
Bring John Deere out of Mexico back to America. I don't know if they're still going there or there, but I think they got one foot over there and one foot over there.
I know they were trying to make that move. Yeah.
And Trump was trying to get in the middle of that.
Yeah.
But take iconic companies like that. Take Harley Davidson.
Yes. Yep.
Take John Deere, other traditional American families, companies, and put them back in the United States, owned by BUSA. And that's Brand USA.
Brand USA. Oh, that's smart. Yeah, I like that.
And make them again traditional American icon companies and keep them here. You know, because I see that thing out there. What is the first thing you think of? It's the John Deere tractor now is doing it.
Yes. You know, exactly.
So the big green and yellow machines.
Yeah.
Now they got others out there. I realize that they got 4 or 5 other brands out there now. They're all good. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's that country song. She thinks I'm sexy in my big green tractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Okay. I love Samaritan's Purse. Their ministry is just amazing. Anyway, here's a little bit of something you probably never would ever see, but they were in a little town called Livingston, Texas, and where they had a bad flash flood through there. And it wiped out a family house that they saved their money to get, and it was gone. Here comes Samaritan's Purse, and here's the story.
Oh man, I got another hug. I'm here in East Texas, and this is a city that I was in back in June of this summer. And this area was completely devastated. The house behind me was flooded underwater. And when I pulled up to meet with our Samaritan's Purse volunteers that were gutting out this home, the homeowner's son came up and gave me a big hug and, hey, sir, it's nice to meet you. But I was so touched by his compassion. But then I met his mother and father and how much they loved the Lord. They had saved up, bought this house, and they just finished paying it off, and it was completely destroyed. So today, we dedicate a brand new home, everything from the ground up. The foundation, we raised it, everything is new.
Thank you so much. And we would like to say that our hearts are full of gratefulness to Samaritan Purse. We will take care of the house, and everybody are welcome to come to the house anytime.
I just love their testimony. I know they're going to use this house to share the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout this community, and I'm proud to know them, and we celebrate today. So I just pray for the Avila family, and we give God the glory.
Isn't that wonderful?
Fantastic.
Now, you just don't hear about these continuing stories that Samaritan Purse. By the way, they don't just go in for a few days and leave.
Right.
They go in and stay. And the success to their operation is they use local volunteers and train them through the Samaritan Purse processes and how to handle things and stay there until the job is done. It's just amazing. Good stuff all the way around. All right. Does the big pardon allow for other big pardons?
That is the question of the day.
Pardon me.
Steve?
Isn't there a song out there, Pardon Me?
I don't know.
Pardon me, Roy.
We got to look this up.
I got to look.
Okay.
I'm sure it's a country song.
Of course it is.
We'll backmask it. We'll get it. We'll be right back.
It can be puzzling assembling all the right pieces for your insurance needs in retirement. I'm Michelle Slate, Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance. Guiding you through the stormy seas of insurance, Lighthouse stands out as a beacon of hope, offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today, 541-494-1034.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
During the time that I reached out to the Salvation Army, I was like at my last hope. And Salvation Army really provided that hope and stability that I needed. And that's why I'm grateful, is because without that, my kids would have grown up too fast.
You should donate to the Salvation Army because every dollar that you give goes directly to changing lives here in our community.
Hello, my name is Todd Friel, host of Wretched TV, seen right here on Dove TV. Some people say Wretched. That's a perfect name for the contents of the TV program I host. We call it Wretched because we understand we're wretched sinners in need of an amazing Savior, and we have one. Would you like to grow in your knowledge of Jesus Christ? We invite you to join us for Wretched.
Weekdays and weeknights on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative.
Hi, welcome back to Santa's Workshop. Anyway, good morning to you. 12 minutes before the before the hour. By the way, since President Biden has pardoned his son Hunter, which is the big pardon of the century, I'm still, my brain's on tilt. Why is he left upset with him doing what he did? I thought they were they liked stretching the law in their favor.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're upset with this.
I think
all of a sudden they're legally righteous.
I think they don't like looking stupid.
Okay, because I think this move is not only tanked the president's legacy.
Yeah.
I think it just augurs in the DNC in a really bad position.
Yeah, I think so. And James Carvell, James Carvell mentioned the same thing.
Did he? Well, there's a voice of reason.
Yeah, boy.
But does this open the door for President Trump to pardon the January 6th bunch?
Boy, I would think so.
I asked Orrin McIntyre about that. He writes commentaries for The Blaze, and here's what he had to say.
He absolutely should. It would really be a disgrace if he did not. You also have other people like Steve Bannon who have faced unfair lawfare practices. Guys like Douglas Mackey, who was placed, who was given jail time for putting a meme on Twitter that made fun of Hillary Clinton. This is the kind of stuff that our Department of Justice has been doing. We know the parents that have been endlessly harassed by the FBI when it comes to opposing gender care, or the number of people who have been given ridiculous sentences in the because of the FACE Act. All of this is now on the table for President Trump. He should be able to pardon pretty much anyone caught up under this ridiculous regime. And this is basically a blank check for that, because if the Department of Justice under Joe Biden was incredibly unfair and was prosecuting people simply due to their politics, Joe Biden could not turn around and then say, oh, well, I pardoned this guy because you said he was targeted for the fact that he was connected to me. It was a purely political prosecution. He has no leg to stand on then to come back and say, oh, well, you can't pardon those people who you believe to be targeted by a completely political prosecution. This knife cuts both ways, and it needs to cut both ways, because if it doesn't, Democrats pay no cost, they learn nothing, and ultimately they will simply turn around and use the Department of Justice to persecute conservatives and Christians once again as soon as they enter office.
Well, we'll see what happens here. I suspect President Trump will pardon the January 6th people. And the problem with that is, and it's very controversial to say the least, but once these people are out and they start talking and they start giving interviews and writing books and columns, that's going to be another nightmare for the left.
I would think so. And,
you know,
do you think it would be a nightmare for the committee itself?
It should.
Yeah.
Because this looked like to be a pretty much canned deal.
Yeah, it did.
But you got to remember, the committee packed up and left town pretty fast when they couldn't get things to stick.
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
you know, so
they did.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Pardon being with it. Will President Biden pardon himself? And here's somebody else that's still hanging out there. His brother.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Biden.
Yes.
I wonder if he's going to pardon his brother.
Right. And, you know, I heard some on the left saying, well, why didn't he pardon other people, too, like Fauci? I was like, well, wait a minute. What does Fauci need to be pardoned for?
Well, I think what they're talking about, this shows you the absurdity is, can he pardon people from being prosecuted?
Right. Should they find some
I thought a pardon only happens when you've been found guilty.
You would think that would be the case, huh?
Hey, Alan, what's your take? You got a caller. Hey, Alan?
Hey,
What do
Alan.
you think about this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got some great guests coming up. Michael Busler will be talking about the proposed budget things for the upcoming administration. Will the DOGE department mean anything economically? And I know he doesn't like tariffs, but can they be used to force the issue? So we'll talk about that. And then Major Fred Galvin will be back with us. Lots to talk to him about, especially the remake of the American military.
Well, you know, head injuries are something that we have to be very careful of, but we grew up in an age where we kind of said, well, we dare you. We ride around on motorcycles without helmets, bikes without helmets.
In the back of your dad's truck.
Dad's truck without helmets.
Yeah.
Now we wear them for everything, including skiing and boarding and biking, and you fill in the blanks. But there are some areas that maybe we haven't thought of, but others are. And how about soccer players and the headers, you know, that bounce off, you know, the top of their head? Well, take a look at this.
A new study suggests that bouncing a soccer ball off the head during play could be doing real damage to the brain. MRI brain scans of male and female soccer athletes suggest that lots of heading could damage areas of the brain already known to be linked to debilitating concussion-linked conditions such as chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Study senior author Dr. Michael Lipton, professor of the Columbia University Irving Medical Center in New York City, said, the potential effects of repeated head impacts in sport are much more extensive than previously known and affect locations similar to where we've seen CTE pathology. This raises concern for delayed adverse effects of head impacts. The study found that folks who headed a lot of balls were also more likely to have what researchers called poor verbal learning. The new data might end up helping athletes. Lipton said that characterizing the potential risks of repetitive head impacts can facilitate safer sport engagement to maximize benefits while minimizing potential harms. Because these findings are to be presented at an upcoming medical meeting, they should be considered preliminary until published in a peer-reviewed journal.
Soccer.
I wonder if this actually will work.
Why? What do you mean?
Well, have you just taken the edge out of the game?
Yeah, what can you do, though, to protect? Because you can't take headers out of the game.
And
are you going to put them in helmets?
So you see, then now they're banging into each other.
Oh, well, you know what? That's a good point because remember leather helmets on the football field?
Yeah, leather.
There weren't as many head injuries then because when they got hard helmets, they started leading with their head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So what if they could create, you helmet manufacturer people out there, you're probably having a heyday with this one because a whole new marketing scheme.
Right.
But if you could create a, not a great big thing that, you know, like you're driving a NASCAR or something.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe a leather type helmet.
Yeah, well, I don't know, because even football helmets are evolving right now. So we're seeing them with like little pressure points on them, and some of them are wearing a little cover over their helmet now.
Yeah.
So when they hit, it takes a little bit of the absorption and slides.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but soccer and the header, I've always looked at that and wondered, how do they feel after one of those big headers?
I don't know. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
The helmet manufacturers are going to have a heyday with this because there's a chance to put their brand on the side of the helmet.
Right, and a whole new sport to put helmets on the players.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Will the players have anything to say about this?
I wonder. Yeah.
You know,
Do they have a players' union in soccer like football?
Well, but they have a voice. They can say, no,
I would
we
think
don't
so,
want to do
yeah.
this.
Well, they tried to do that in hockey, too, when they brought in helmets. The older players didn't have to wear them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hebrews 4, chapter 4, verse 16, let us therefore come boldly to the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in the time of need. So go boldly before the throne today. Ooh, look at that shot. Isn't that beautiful? Thank the Lord for living in such a wonderful area.
Amen.
We'll be right back.
For 68 years, Ray's Food Place has been the fresh choice for your family. We're your local employee-owned grocery store. Count on us for hot buys every week and fantastic Friday one-day deals. Here's this week's one-day special offer. But remember, fantastic Friday deals are only available one day each week. Community-focused and convenient. That's Ray's Food Place. Proud to be your local employee-owned grocery store. It's time to run to Ray's.
Beautiful child, apple of my eye. I know the plans I have for you.
Hi, I'm Terry Shamar, Church Relations for Operation Christmas Child in Grants Pass, Oregon. I'm here to talk with you today about a unique opportunity to spread the gospel to children throughout the world by sending a shoebox of love and hope. Each child is precious in God's sight. Jesus said, don't hinder the children to come to me. You can be a part of the Great Commission by picking up a shoebox at your local church or any of these locations. Bless these little ones and you will reap a great harvest. Have a wonderful Christmas and God bless you.
The child after my own
Get ready for fun at Rogue Ski Shop Think Snow Sale. Boulder Gear clothing now 20% off. Goggles, adults starting at $29, kids starting at $26. All Scott gloves 20% off. If you ski or ride, it's time to slide into Rogue Ski Shop Medford.
First Lieutenant David Wright.
You want to take Dave flying with us today?
Yeah.
An innovative program is taking grief therapy to a whole new level.
But today we are celebrating the Gold Star families who've lost loved ones, who are celebrating their heroes.
Helping Gold Star families transform loss into love.
You could physically let go and also psychologically let go.
Watch the 700 Club Thursday morning at 11 on the Dove TV.
Are you struggling to find loyal customers to grow your business? The people you want are watching and listening to the Dove right now. Hello, I'm Perry Atkinson. You know, the Dove offers your business a loyal and faithful audience, a safe and positive media platform to be associated with, reaching over 6 million customers daily. Find faithful customers, partner with the Dove, and watch your business flourish. Find out more. Contact Nancy Worth, Vice President of Sales and Marketing at the Dove today. The Dove TV,
encouraging and informative,
with Mornings on the Dove. Focus today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and I'm always delighted to spend some time with the professor. I hopefully someday will graduate from his class, but I am the perpetual student. And I'm talking about none other than Professor Michael Busler, a public policy analysis and professor of finance at Stockton University there in New Jersey. He has his own personal website, muckrack.com/Michael Busler. There's a picture of the landing page, and you can correspond with him there. Professor, good to see you, friend. How are you?
Always good to see you, Perry. Thanks for having me again. As you know, it's my pleasure to be here.
Oh, you're the man. You're the man. All right. I know that you're not a high guy on tariff, but it does bring people to your doorstep for negotiation. What do you think about all this stuff?
So I'm a free market economist. My choice would be no tariffs by anybody on anything. However, when Trump came to office in his first term, he looked at every one of our trade agreements, and every one was in imbalance, and they were in favor of our trading partners and to the detriment of the U.S. So whereas we charge countries a 2.5% tariff to bring goods into our country, they charged us a 10% tariff. China charged a 25% tariff. And as a result of that, we were importing billions and exporting much less. So when you import goods, money flows out of the country. And when you export them, it comes in. So we had a big negative balance of trade. So Trump went to every trading partner and said, listen, we need to fix this. So every trading partner was not in any hurry to do this. So Trump said, in business, when you have a negotiation and your partner won't come to the table, you create a sense of urgency. And that's exactly what he did. He said to Canada and Mexico, I'm going to put big tariffs on you unless we renegotiate NAFTA. 2 weeks later, we had the USMCA. He said the same thing in South Korea, in Japan, and all of those were renegotiated. So he uses tariffs as a means to bring people to the table. He said just a week or so ago to Canada and Mexico, listen, we have a big problem. A whole bunch of people are coming into our country, mostly through the southern border, but also through the northern border. We need this to stop immediately. Well, again, the president of Mexico and the prime minister of Canada were in no hurry. Well, then he said, if you don't do it, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on both countries. Well, a week later, they both came to see him, and this problem is in the process of being solved. So he uses tariffs to bring people to the table. Now, that's true with every country except China. Now, with China, we have so much of our goods being produced there, and some very essential goods like medicines and medical equipment, it could create a problem since China takes an adversarial position with us throughout most of the world. I recall during COVID, there were masks made in China, and we had a ship full of them heading to the U.S. China said, wait a minute, the virus is very serious here, made the ship turn around, go back to China. We had a shortage of masks, which drove the price up significantly. So President Trump wants to bring back some of the manufacturing from China back to the U.S. So how do you do that? Well, the reason it's over there in the first place is it's cheaper to make. We pay our workers $25, $30 an hour. China pays $1 an hour. So something that cost us $100 to produce may cost them only $80, $85 to produce. So Trump said, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on Chinese goods that'll raise the price above $100. So now it will be cheaper to make the U.S. goods, and we'll start making them here. But wait a minute, consumers said. We were paying $80, $85 for something made in China, and now we're going to make it here. It's going to cost $100. So what do we do about inflation? Two things, Trump said. Any company that was manufacturing in China or other parts of the world and brings the manufacturing back to the U.S., he'll lower the corporate tax rate on the profits from those goods from 21% down to 15%. So that'll help offset the increase in price. Secondly, he said, look, I'm going to, and he's very aggressive about this, I hope he makes it, he says, I'm going to cut the cost of energy in half within the first year. How's he going to do that? He'll approve the Keystone Pipeline. He'll allow drilling on federal lands. He'll make the permitting process easier. By vastly increasing the supply of energy we produce, that'll bring energy prices way down. So when American manufacturers are producing goods, they'll pay a lot less to do so because the energy cost will be down. So Trump wants to bring manufacturing back, and he's doing it through the use of tariffs in China, and he'll keep the cost down and bring inflation down by bringing energy prices down significantly.
All makes sense, doesn't it?
I thought so.
Well, you said it. No, but I mean, given your analysis there, it makes total sense. And so in some ways, tariff is really an amazing bargaining chip to get people to come down. Now, to me, you just answered a big portion of my question, and that is, if he puts the tariffs on China goods, that temporarily raises the prices in America on the American goods being made in China for the consumer in America. But the incentive is taking that corporate rate from 25 to 15. That is a huge incentive.
Absolutely. And also, he'll bring the cost of energy down. And whenever you're making products, a significant part of the manufacturing process is how much you pay for energy. So if he can bring the energy costs down and lower the tax rate, there may be a little blip in inflation until all this works out. But he thinks in the long run, he'll be able to have the goods produced in America that will help our negative balance of trade. That will mean that we're not at the mercy of China if they decided not to ship something over here. So it'll bring more security and bring in the manufacturing jobs back here, and the whole manufacturing will help our economy. Now, let me say one other thing. In order to keep the costs down, he'll keep the energy costs down, but we're going to have to start manufacturing products over here, capital intensive rather than labor intensive. What does that mean? Instead of a production line with a lot of people, you'll have a production line with robots and artificial intelligence and automation. So we'll be able to keep the manufacturing costs down as we bring the products back. It's all good.
Okay, so the other big thing that he said over the weekend was apparently the BRICS nations are thinking about creating their own currency and getting away from the dollar. And that would be Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And he said, well, if you guys do that, I'm going to give you a 100% tariff. Now, the interesting thing about that particular move is all of those countries have almost their own economies almost in shambles. What do you think about that threat, if I can say it that way for now?
Well, again, I think he's using the threat of tariffs to try to reach a goal. The American dollar is the standard around the world. Everybody trades, virtually everything trades in dollars, and that works for the stability of the world. These BRICS nations, they're talking about using the China currency as their currency, and that's an unstable currency because the Chinese government manipulates their currency to try to reach some of their economic goals. Right. I don't believe it will be in the best interest of those countries to switch out of the U.S. dollar. Trump says he doesn't want that to happen. He thinks there'll be more stability, economic stability in the world if we all stay with the dollar. So again, he'll use the threat of tariffs to try to bring people to the negotiating table and come up with something everybody can live with.
But to your point on that, Professor, a few people realize that China, on a whim, can change the value of their currency. I mean, it's literally a dictator decision. And the residual effect of that across their own economy can be devastating.
It certainly can. The best thing to do is to let the market determine what exchange rates are between currencies. What China does and how they offset some of the tariffs last time, they devalued their currency, and as a result of that, their goods became cheaper, but it hurt their economy. Right now, the Chinese economy is in very difficult position. They've had tremendous growth for a decade, and then when the virus hit and they shut down twice, they're having trouble getting things restarted again. They also have used a lot of debt to finance their real estate industry, which is not necessarily unusual, but the amount of debt that they used makes things very precarious. And their real estate market now has softened, and there will be some bankruptcies for Chinese companies, and the Chinese government is having a tough time getting their economy started. So this is not a real good time, I don't think, for those that are considering this BRIC. I don't think this is a real good time for them to be looking to China to come up with a new currency.
One other point on this before I switch gears here, and that is, does the cryptocurrency enter into this at any level?
You know, it's hard to say. Now, Trump seems to be in favor of cryptocurrency. And once he said that, Bitcoin, which was selling for $65,000, $70,000 a unit, suddenly shot up to almost $100,000 a unit. So with people like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy giving advice to the president, there is likely a way to bring cryptocurrency into this where it'll be safe, and he'll try to minimize some of the risk. Is exactly how that'll be done, I'm not sure, and I don't think they've figured it out yet. But I think it's something for the future, and I think it will have a place.
Okay, I want to set up this question, and then we can start answering and come back to it. But if you take the tariff threat to Mexico and Canada, 25%. You take the 100% tariff threat to Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and you now put in place a Department of Governmental Efficiency, which could result in major firings. There is a boiling point in the economy here. What's the gamble? Is he hoping that the renaissance comes out of this, or because all of a sudden the unemployment is going to shoot through the roof? So what do we do here?
Well, none of those countries you mentioned can afford to have those tariffs put in place. Canada, for instance, their economy is roughly $2.1 trillion. About $450 billion, over 20%, is exported to the U.S. So if we put on a 25% tariff and that gets cut by a quarter or a half, their economy goes into a deep recession. So they can't afford to have that happen. So what did they do? Trudeau flew down to Mar-a-Lago and said, don't put the tariffs on. We'll work something out where everybody can be happy. And I think that's the primary use of these tariffs for countries like Canada and Mexico and some of the others.
All right, let me take a quick break. Again, always a delight to have with us Professor Michael Busler. He does have his own website, muckrack.com/Michael Busler. There it is. He's a professor of finance there at Stockton University. We'll take a quick time out. We'll be right back.
Get ready for fun at Rogue Ski Shop Think Snow Sale. Boulder Gear clothing now 20% off. Goggles, adults starting at $29, kids starting at $26. All Scott gloves 20% off. If you ski or ride, it's time to slide into Rogue Ski Shop Medford.
As Christ followers, the greatest legacy we can leave is our love for Jesus Christ and our love for others. But did you know there's another important legacy you can leave behind? The legacy of generosity. There are many ways you can continue to be generous even after your time on this earth is over. One simple way is to name your favorite nonprofit as a beneficiary on your accounts, through your will, or through a trust. This ensures your generosity continues to make an impact. For some, you might also consider a charitable remainder trust. With this trust, you can receive an income stream during your lifetime, and after you pass, the remaining funds will go to the nonprofit organization you choose. It's a way to take care of yourself and support the causes you love. Another option is a charitable lead trust. This allows you to donate funds to a nonprofit during your lifetime, and then after your passing, the remaining assets can go to your loved ones. Everyone wins, your family, your nonprofit, and you. Of course, it's always important to consult with your estate attorney and tax professional for more details. But if you're ready to explore these options further, I'm Brent Sisson, Certified Financial Planner with D.A. Davidson. Feel free to reach out to me at 541-608-4381. Let's work together to ensure your legacy of generosity lasts for generations.
Professor Michael Busler is back with us today, professor of finance there at Stockton University in New Jersey. He's also a public policy analysis, and he does have his own website, muckrack.com/Michael Busler. There's a picture of the landing page. So, Professor, to continue on a little bit, if the department, this new Department of Government Efficiency, which I understand is an advisory, it doesn't really have a lot of powers yet, unless it's given the powers like a czar. We don't know that yet. But it will give recommendation to the president on where cuts can be made, and I guess through executive order they can start all of that. I think that's how the setup is beginning to work. So, but let's just assume for a moment they start cutting the cost of government. Let's say they reduce the price tag of government 5%. They're looking at maybe eliminating Department of Education, not funding public broadcasting, Planned Parenthood, and the list goes on down. Those who went home and never came back to work, they may give them a nice little ticket and say, stay home. We could see a high unemployment all of a sudden. How does that play out?
Well, that could be a problem in the short term. And when Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy come in, they are going to make drastic cuts. Remember when Elon Musk bought Twitter? He took a look at Twitter. He laid off 70% of the workforce, and Twitter still functions perfectly. Musk will say this is the kind of efficiency we'll seek. There's so many government workers that don't even go to work. They work remotely, which works in many industries, but there's a question of how much work these people are actually doing. And I have a feeling when they come in, they're going to get more than 5% cuts. I think they're going to get more drastic cuts and come closer to balancing the budget. Government spending has exploded in the last 5 or 6 years. In 2019, federal government spent about $4.5 trillion. In 2025, they're forecast to spend $6.8 trillion. So there's a huge increase in government spending, and most of that is for stuff that we're not getting our money's worth. So we have two people there who are good at looking at operating businesses and enterprises efficiently. They'll get that payroll way down. We'll still be able to get the services that we need, and it may create some temporary unemployment, but most of the people that will be laid off are highly educated people, and they should have no trouble finding other jobs. And if the price we have to pay is a little bit of unemployment to finally get this budget close to balance, I think it's a price that is worth paying.
So this is a little bit hypothetical, but if the price of government does over the next year or so get reduced, I don't know, say 5%, how does that play in addressing the debt, the national debt?
Yeah, so the first thing, when you're stuck in a deep hole, the first thing you want to do is stop digging. So we're stuck in a deep hole with this debt. So the first thing to do is stop adding to it. So the first thing they'll try to do is get the spending down so that it's close to what the tax revenue is. And if they can come close to balancing the budget, then they won't be adding any more to the debt. That's step one. Then step two, they'll look at some ways we can try to create revenue that can be used to pay down the public debt. The problem with this debt is they never had a mechanism in place to ever pay it back. So in other words, they ran a deficit, they sold a 10 or 20-year bond, the bond matures, they couldn't pay it back, so what they do is they sold new bonds to pay back the old bonds, and they rolled over the debt. That's why it keeps going up. We're going to have to stop doing that. When we create a deficit and we sell a bond, we've got to have some way when the bond is due to pay it back rather than rolling it over and creating even more debt. So the first step, stop creating deficits and more debt. Once we do that, we'll be able to work on getting the public debt down.
Okay. I know you got to scoot here shortly.
No, that's okay. We're good.
Your pizza's ready.
No, I'm good. That was a spam call.
No problem. How would you explain the labor situation, the job market in America right now?
Listen, the Federal Reserve is likely going to cut interest rates again next week. I keep asking the question, why are they doing that? well, they'll say we're trying to get ahead. We don't want the economy to slow down. We don't want unemployment to go up. Unemployment, it was 4.3% in July. Now, you ask any economist what level of unemployment represents a full employment economy, every economist will tell you 4%. So we're at 4.3% in July. They were afraid it was going to go up. It dropped to 4.2% in August, 4.1% in September, 4.1% in October, and November's number will be out Friday. That's probably going to be 4.1%. So we don't have an unemployment problem. Secondly, say, well, we're afraid the economy's not going to grow. It grew 3% in the second quarter of this year, almost 3% in the third quarter, and most economists are forecasting between 2.5% and 3% for this quarter. So the economy is growing, unemployment is low, they shouldn't be cutting interest rates. Since they cut them in September, inflation now is starting to inch up again, and inflation should be the primary concern of the Fed. So I don't think we have an unemployment problem. There's still more job openings than there are unemployed people. Now, you say, well, why don't they just take the jobs? We have a structural unemployment problem. What does that mean? The skills required for the job openings don't match the skills of the unemployed people. So you are going to have a structural unemployment problem that eventually will work itself out, usually through education programs. But we don't have an unemployment problem. There's no reason for the Fed to cut interest rates, and Wall Street says there's a 75% chance the Fed's going to cut them again next week. Big mistake.
How much, you know? How much of a cut they may do? What's their incentive for doing it?
Another 25 basis points. So they did 50 basis points in September, 25 basis points in November. They're going to do likely another 25 basis points in December. Oddly enough, interest rates, the federal funds rate is going down because the Fed controls that, but market interest rates are going up. The Treasury bills, since they cut the interest rate, the federal funds rate in September, Treasury bills are now up to 4.5%. They were down around 4%. In fact, they were under 4% for a while. Mortgage rates had gotten down under 6%. Now they're approaching 7%. So the market is saying the market interest rates are higher than what the Federal Reserve is using in their models. There's no reason for them to cut interest rate next week, interest rates. It will add to the inflation problem, and that's the number one problem we have to solve.
Yeah.
Inflation affects everybody.
In the meantime, incoming President Trump, he gets this inflation problem with his economic plan in place. It seems to me that the great inflation fighter that he has to bring this under control will be the price of energy.
Exactly. It's exactly right. That's what started this in the first place. When Biden got into office, he canceled the Keystone Pipeline, withdrew permits to drill on federal lands, made the permitting process more difficult. That reduced the supply of energy and brought energy prices up. Now, they'll argue back to me, wait a minute, at the end of Biden's term, we were producing more oil than in the beginning. And that's true. But had he not done all those things, we would be producing a lot more oil instead of just a little bit more. And these prices that we saw that were sky high wouldn't have happened. Now, people are saying now, well, energy prices are coming down now, aren't they? And that's true. And why is that? China is in a recession, and they're the second largest economy in the world. Japan is in a recession, so that's reducing the demand for energy, and that's keeping energy prices down. Trump will bring them down, not by pushing demand down, but rather by increasing the supply, and that will bring the energy prices down.
Thank you, Professor. I know you got to go. We always value your time. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, check out Professor Busler's website, muckrack.com/Michael Busler. There's, again, the picture of the landing page there. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Perry. Look forward to doing it again, as I always do.
Okay.
Take care.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
For 68 years, Ray's Food Place has been the fresh choice for your family. We're your local employee-owned grocery store. Count on us for hot buys every week and fantastic Friday one-day deals. Here's this week's one-day special offer. But remember, fantastic Friday deals are only available one day each week. Community-focused and convenient. That's Ray's Food Place. Proud to be your local employee-owned grocery store. It's time to run to Ray's.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site 24/7 in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living, your home.
Welcome back, and always an honor to have with us Major Fred Galvin. He's a United States Marine Corps retired major, author of a fascinating book entitled The Few Bad Men, The True Story of the U.S. Marines Ambushed in Afghanistan and Betrayed in America. He has served for over 26 years as an enlisted and Marine Corps officer. He has led hundreds of combat missions there in Iraq, Afghanistan, and the Arabian Gulf. And while conducting a combat mission there in Afghanistan, the Major and 6 other Marines were falsely accused of war crimes, which led to the longest trial in Marine Corps history, and it led to an acquittal. So you can check out the book. I highly recommend it. It's a fascinating read, A Few Bad Men, The True Story. And then he also has a website, and that is commandoshow.com. And there's the picture of the landing page, commandoshow.com. Major, good to see you again, friend. How are you?
Great, Barry. Thank you for having me again.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for your service. An amazing story. From your perspective, it looks like there's a change coming to the military. What do you think?
There is going to be a big change, and it can't come soon enough. We desperately, desperately need to have someone in the Pentagon that is not seeking to provoke our adversaries. We should always be looking to deter aggression, which is the recipe for success in America, but we do not need someone who, right now, what do we see here this last month? You have Governor Shapiro there in Pennsylvania signing his name on a warhead. You know, we've sold these ATACMS long-range missiles to Ukraine, and then President Biden on top of that has given authorization for them to be launched into Russia, you know, right here in his final 6 months in office. This is something that the Pentagon should be advising the president and the National Security Advisor that this brings grave risk. This does not make any benefits for the United States, and it's something we should not do. But you're right, Perry. What's coming to the Pentagon? I know there's some questions right now on, you know, if the Senate, who they may possibly confirm, but we desperately need a leader in the Pentagon that is going to deter war, not what we've seen here in this last year and last 4 years, where Middle East, there's been assassinations, kidnappings, no clear, real path to returning our American hostages. And then we still have this same aggression. We have, right now, we have 3 U.S. Navy carriers in the Northeast Asia area. And that is something that, because we have been looked at as weak by the People's Republic of China, which is our most serious threat, we're doing measures that actually can increase the tension in that area, in that region, besides what's going on in the Middle East and besides what's going on in Eastern Europe.
Wow, a lot here. All right, let me. Do you think there will be a difference in policy or outlook on the military from Trump's first term to Trump's second term?
I definitely do believe so. I know in the past, President Trump had mentioned, he said out in a tweet when Secretary of Defense Mattis was the Secretary of Defense for Trump, he stated that he opposed having transsexuals in the military. And what did General Mattis do? He, for 2 years, did a legal review. But I think that General Mattis being out, that put some thoughts in President Trump's mind of what his next administration should be. Is not to have someone in there that is going to fight and resist him. General Mattis, here's an officer that served over 40 years, and I'm most certain that he had removed people from the military for many things, such as being gay or having transsexual tendencies that was not allowed. And then he puts this, even before there was any reason to, General Mattis fought him the whole way. So I'm sure that President Trump is going to find someone who, whether that's currently nominated Pete Hegseth, there's talk of either as a deputy or if Pete Hegseth does not get confirmed by the Senate, having Governor DeSantis. But he wants to have someone that will restore our military to its strength and not to have programs that divide the United States military. And when we're looking at right now, these, let's call them resurgent states, and I'm specifically talking about China, I'm talking about Russia and Iran, they are nations that want to destroy the United States. They don't want to compete. They want to destroy the United States. And the three of those countries have been, just like we saw this summer, large-scale global exercise with China and Russia. And people think Russia's on its last leg. I ask your viewers, Perry, look at the military size of countries such as Russia, such as China, and North Korea. Look at the millions that they have. They're not on their last leg. That is being perpetuated by mainstream media, since North Korea is sending some military personnel to fight in this war in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. But by no mistake is Russia on its last leg. Okay. This is something that we need to take very seriously. And we need to have a leader that is able to ensure that America is taken very seriously. And I think, Trump is doing that across the board with his nominations for the FBI director and so on and so forth.
What do you think the president-elect means hell will be paid if the hostages aren't released before January 20th? What do you think he means by that? What backs that up?
I can't speak directly on behalf, obviously, of the president-elect, but I do believe that we have numerous tools in the Department of Defense and different government agencies, such as conducting precision raids, much like Israel did against Hezbollah and into Lebanon. We can do this. We should have, in my opinion, we should have been doing something like this to free our American hostages. When we know where they are, that is a mission set that myself, when I was in the military in special operations and in force reconnaissance, we practiced and trained for a mission called In Extremis Hostage Rescue. And that is something that is a very strong capability in the United States Department of Defense. We can do that, and we should do that to get American hostages back. When diplomacy fails, and right now, we are not succeeding with any diplomacy against these terrorist states, and I'm talking specifically Hamas. But Hamas and Hezbollah, they are funded by Iran, and this is a problem. And our enemies, such as Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah, these are terrorist organizations who have all been involved in, funded by Iran, which took action in attacking the American embassy in Lebanon in 1983, killing 17 Americans and killing 241 Americans, mainly United States Marines, later that year in October of 1983 in the Marine barracks in Lebanon. And, we left. It's sad that President Ronald Reagan did not have a response, but I do believe that President-elect Trump will, and he will use the United States military in a very decisive way to get our Americans back.
Okay, the other question is back over to Ukraine. You've talked about this a lot, and of course, President Biden okayed U.S. missiles to be launched into Russia, and it's just caused all kinds of havoc and put us on the edge of potentially World War III. But it's also well known that Zelensky doesn't like Trump and actually campaigned against him when he came into this country. What do you think is going to be the relationship now with Ukraine, Zelensky, and Trump?
Perry, that's a very interesting question. Excuse me, and I believe that having close friends, such as Marco Rubio as the Secretary of State, I think many of those relationships, there likely be accountability. If we continue to give any aid, it will be for a specific purpose, unlike the blank check that we've currently been using, where we're sending over $100 billion, so much that the Pentagon has lost track of these. And this is going to stop. Trump realizes from his first term that these forever wars that don't have a defined end state, that don't have a mission of what they're there to do, that's going to come to an end as far as the United States support for that. And how does the United States benefit from this? That's what he is going to demand, from his cabinet, especially the Secretary of Defense and Secretary of State, as far as giving any additional funding in military weapon systems to Ukraine. That's something that every American needs to know, that this is in our best interest, which right now, I believe, as Trump has stated, he is looking to have some negotiations and certain lines drawn on the map that are agreeable to both President Zelensky and President Putin. That would be something that I could foresee that President Trump would be looking to do in the near term, is to end the war, as he has repeatedly stated, and moving on from there. There should, this massive loss of lives that has been going on needs to end, but also we should not be provoking to a higher escalation. And this current administration has been using rhetoric, which I believe is completely false. And you can see by the lack of donations to the United Nations from countries that are closer. Much of our allies. Let's look at Poland and Italy and see how much they contributed, less than $1 billion, and we can't spend enough. This is something that is exhibits A and B in the case against what President Joe Biden is saying. This is going to spread. This is a threat to the rest of Eastern and mainland Europe. We just don't see the evidence of that, Perry, in the amount of donations from other states that are much closer to this threat there in Ukraine.
So, Major, to that point, do you think NATO's doomed? I mean, President Trump's previous relationship with NATO has been pretty stressful. He'd basically say, pay up or shut up. And are we back to that again?
That's a good question. I think NATO should have solutions, not just identifying the problems. As we've seen, there's a lot of talk in the media of, hey, here's what's going on in Gaza. Here's what's going on in Lebanon. And Israel is, they have this rhetoric that Israel is the aggressor and Israel is killing these civilians, and this is a genocide. They're attacking hospitals. Well, we see what Hamas and Hezbollah do. They use women and children, civilians, as shields. They put their weapon systems and their command and control headquarters in schools and in hospitals and in homes. So here's an actual solution, and I'm going back to what the Marines, the United States Marines, did in 1983, is having a peacekeeping force. If we want to use the United Nations and NATO to effectively do something, we can have cantonment areas where civilians are placed, and there's no weapons that are there, and we can move civilians out of the way with a coalition of NATO forces and allow. If we're so concerned of civilian casualties, we can do something about that, Perry. And that's what I propose, that if there is a continued war, that we use, the United Nations and NATO to do something about it instead of just complaining of civilian casualties.
One other question, and this back over to the Middle East just for a moment. And I realize these are your opinions, but you are an experienced Marine here, and you know the inside workings of all of this. But it appears that when President Trump takes over, the relationship with Israel is going to be firmed up again, and support for Israel is going to be there, which is going to be a headache to Hezbollah, Hamas. But the real threat is Iran. That's the mother of the problem. And I don't know if Iran, by just sheer virtue of Trump becoming president again, just kind of goes neutral. But do you think there would be and I'm not pro-war, so don't misunderstand what I'm about to say, but it appears that Iran needs to be neutralized, or this thing is just going to go on forever. Do you think that's in play?
That is something that isn't ideal. I think it's going to be very difficult with the international community to arrive upon that. But obviously, as you correctly stated, Perry, Iran is the source behind these terrorist states, specifically Hamas and Hezbollah. These bad actors are all funded by Iran. And we need to do the exact opposite, and I believe President Trump will do that, the exact opposite of what this current administration and the Obama administration gave over $50 billion to Iran. This current administration gave between $5 and $6 billion to Iran. And we have seen since October 7th, 2023, hundreds of attacks against our American service members in the Middle East, specifically Iraq, Syria. The Military Times, not to get off on this, but just to give a perspective, the Military Times requested the Department of Defense provide the numbers of American casualties. And in just the first 4 months following the 7 October attacks against Israel, there had been 170 attacks against the United States forces in the Middle East by Hamas and Hezbollah and Iranian-backed militias inside Iraq, and there was 168 Americans wounded or killed. So this information, which used to be very transparent in websites that the Pentagon would provide, is no longer available for that transparency. But my point in bringing this up, Harry, is I think the exact opposite is going to happen, is there will be sanctions placed against Iran. I believe that President Trump will use the whole of government to pump oil and to reduce the price of oil, which will bring Iran to its knees and will resurge our American economy and compete globally as we become, again, the #1 exporter. And I heard your last guest on, he's exactly right. This current administration is touting, that they've been producing more oil than ever before, but that doesn't show the rate of growth, nor when President Biden would always talk about, and his allies would talk about the U.S. indices have been hitting all-time record levels, but that doesn't show the rate of growth. That's just saying that it's continuing to grow.
Right.
But I believe that President Trump is going to bring America back in every aspect, through strength, through prosperity, and through our whole of government.
Major, thank you for your time. And again, thank you for your service. Let me say, our viewers and listeners, check out Major Galvin's book. It's a fascinating read, A Few Bad Men, the true story of the U.S. Marines ambushed in Afghanistan and then betrayed in America, which led to the longest military trial in the Marine Corps history, which ultimately led to an acquittal. True story. Fascinating read. Well, check it out. His website is commandoshow.com. There's a picture of the landing page there, commandoshow.com. Thank you, Major. God bless you, friend. Stay in the fight, buddy.
Thank you, Perry, and God bless you.
Worried that inflation might burst your retirement bubble? I'm Michelle Slate. Lighthouse Financial shines guiding light on retirement, investing, and insurance, helping you navigate the stormy seas of retirement Lighthouse stands tall as a beacon of hope, offering you wise counsel and biblically responsible investing. Lighthouse Financial. Call us today, 541-494-1034.
The Bible says sin is pleasurable for a season, but afterwards comes death. So the devil comes, he offers his good wine, if you will, up front, and then you pay the price for it. God says, for you, the Christian, the best is yet to come. Just keep following me and trusting me, and you will see.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
If you are tired, that means I get fed up. I am tired of living the way I'm living. If you're tired from carrying heavy loads, if you're not tired of trying to solve all the problems by yourself, Jesus can't help you. So let me ask you, are you tired? Are you tired of running on empty? Are you fed up with the emptiness that you've been feeling in your life? And are you willing to do something about it? As I said, we don't change until we feel the heat. You have to come some point in your life where you go, I have had enough. I refuse to live this way any longer.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Welcome back. I wanted to take a few moments today to, again, just to say to all of you that listen and watch the Dove, wherever you are, the network now expands across the Pacific Northwest, and with Roku and Apple literally around the world, and with the internet, YouTube. Thank you for your continued support. And also, you probably have heard or been listening to the Dove or watching the Dove, seeing that we too have a year-end need. And we're asking you to prayerfully consider that. And this need primarily comes around every time, this time of the year, where we have to renew a lot of our tower leases. We rent multiple towers for radio and television across a lot of mountaintops all over the place. And we only own 2 of them. And even there, we have to pay land leases, which is kind of an interesting thing. And then now that we are a network, we pay what they call distribution fees to send our signal to other stations to air. And this year, with like everything else, the cost of everything has gone up. And so our goal this year is $217,000. And that's a lot of money, to say the least. And so it's a goal that we have between now and the end of the year. And so I'm asking you to prayerfully consider helping us with that. But there are some conditions here, and I'm very serious about this, because just about every nonprofit organization in the world at this time of the year is asking for support, and rightfully so. But when you support the Dove, it has to be God-led. And I do not want you to take from your church or any other ministry that the Lord has you involved in. Those are your first callings, first responsibilities, and your first place that you should be prayerfully involved and financially involved. But if the Lord leads you to help us here at the Dove, we certainly value that, and we need your help. But we're only asking you to do what the Lord will lead you to do. That $217,000 goal is a big one. I think we're at the moment, and I'm just guessing from yesterday, we're probably about $40,000 have been raised so far in that. And that will go towards renewing these tower leases. They come due at different times in year cycles. Some are for 3 years, some are for 5, some are for 1. And so if you feel led to support the Dove, pray about it first. And again, please don't take from your church or any other ministry or organization that the Lord has you involved in. But if you're led to help us, you can call us anytime at 541-776-5368. Or you can safely and securely go online at thedove.us. You can support us there. And all of that is protected. We do not share that information with anybody. And you can securely support the Dove there. But let me just say thank you. We're still as we grow, what God's called us to do. About 84%, it's kind of held that way for several years. 84% of the Dove's revenue comes from viewers and listeners just like you. It's pretty simple. We wouldn't be on the air doing what we do if it wasn't for you. The way we operate is different than other broadcasters do it and other Christian broadcasters do it. It doesn't make our way the right way or the perfect way. It's just the way that God has led us to do it. Just came through a board meeting. Our board is very solidly put together with some smart people on there, making sure that we stay accountable and do all the right things. And they're very visionary at the same time. In the future, what lies ahead is amazing. And I have to tell you, the last several years, the people listening and watching the Dove and the responses that we're getting, it's just like almost you can't believe it and you can't absorb it. So many people are gleaning from the programming, both radio and television. And that's what it's all about. It's about putting program out there that not only is clear in its theology and clear in the gospel message, but encourages you and helps you. So often we hear from people that they tune in at a certain time and it answers a question and it helps them with the problem or they get encouraged. They may call that a coincidence. It's not. We call it a divine appointment. And the result of the programming lately just continues to go crazy. It's just way up there. And the only thing I can tell you is that when you're part of supporting the Dove, you're a part of that. And we are touching people we never see and we don't know. And the response that we get from all around the world is just amazing. And we're a small network. We're not, we're not ABC, NBC, we're not Fox, we're not any of that. We're just doing what God called us to do. And we need your help to do that. So between now and the end of the year, just pray about that if you can. If you can't, that's fine. I do say this, as important of your gifts to the Dove is your prayers for the Dove. And I tell you, we feel it. And we've had some real challenges over the last year. So every year it seems like we have a different set of challenges. And this past year, we've had them. And from all kinds of things. But as we renew these agreements, we can continue to be there with what God called us to do. We can continue to improve programming. We're always looking for better programs. And a lot of people want to put their program on the Dove, but we want to make sure that the program is clear and it's theologically sound, that it does promote the gospel and not a person. And so we work hard at trying to find that both for radio and TV. And so pray for us along those lines that we continue to make good programming decisions as well. And then there's always these needs that go on around here that from technical to improving things, and equipment burns out, and cameras and TV monitors and computers and all that stuff. That's a constant. It happens. So your support of the Dove is extremely grateful for what you do. And we just ask that you only do what God leads you to do and that you prayerfully are led to do. So sometime between now and the end of the year, if you feel led to help us with this goal of $217,000 to renew these leases and to renew these broadcast distribution fees, again, you can call at 541-776-5368 or you can go online at thedove.us. And we'd like to hear from you, too. You know, when you contact us, would you do us a little favor? Just tell us what program you like. What is it about the Dove that you're watching and you're getting encouragement from? That really does help us in making good decisions here. And so when you contact us, say, I like, watching Dr. David Jeremiah. I like watching this program or listening to that program, or Janet Parshall on the radio side. That helps us when we come to program contract renewals and things like that. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for being a part of it. Everybody that supports the Dove automatically gets our devotional. This devotional is literally going all over the world. These are customized just for the Dove. I sit on the international board of this. We're printing millions of these around the world. Today, over 11 million people read this in China. About 2 million people are reading this throughout Europe and around the world. So we just want to be in your ear with the Dove Radio, in your eyes with the Dove TV, and in your hands with God's Word through the Dove Devotional. And that's what God called us to do. We're not going to get outside of that. We've had a lot of opportunities to take on other ministries. Nope. This is what God called us to do, and we're going to stay faithful to just this one lane. So pray about it. Thank you for whatever the Lord leads you to do. Only do what the Lord leads you to do. And remember this, your first obligation is to your church. We need healthy churches. And so wherever you attend, make sure you support that ministry first. And maybe you're involved in one of these other organizations, one of these other ministry outreaches. And let me encourage you to prayerfully support them as well, from the Rock to Recovery Cafe to the Salvation Army to Youth 71.5 to Hearts with the Mission. I mean, the list goes on. There's just a huge bunch of people out there. But only do what the Lord leads you to do. So pray about it between now and the end of the year. And you can call us anytime at 541-776-5368, or you can safely and securely go online at theDove.us and click on the support button there. And all that's safe and secure. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of what we do here through the Dove Radio and TV. God bless you.
For 68 years.